Okay, is there audio now?
I
do we have audio?
Toast.
Testing. Penis.
Hello?
Oh crap! They probably can't hear me though. Here, quiet down for a second. Check. Oh no, they should be able to hear me. All right, they're probably lagged in chat, so let's give them a second. There it is. Okay, they can see it now. For some reason, OBS had the channel muted out. I don't really know why. That's a little weird. I feel like Video Ninja changes some stuff every once in a while. Yeah. Like where I have to select one audio device, or I have to select a different audio device every once in a while. Go back and forth. All right, let's see here. We're just getting set up, guys. Come on in and have a seat. Let's see here. So we are live. Hashtag TechTalk. So come join us. Popcorn emoji. I use emojis in like all my posts now. Some people get really triggered by it too, but I can't stop doing it. I'm just used children. To it now. They are. They're just all children. You don't understand that these are tools. These are tools that we're supposed to use. Yeah. I remember like emoji was like first getting started, and like on the smartphones, or not even smartphones, like the little emojis you can do on like the flip phones when you did texting back in the day. And I remember my mom was like straight up addicted to it. Like every message she sent me would just be a chain of emojis, and I'd have to like decrypt it and figure out what she meant. At least I'm not that bad. All right, so TechTalk is live. Gotta wordsmith this. Everybody in chat, go ahead and come on in and take a seat. Pull yourself up to the big boy table, and or big lady table, or little lady table, or little boy table.
The big person table.
No, dude, we'll trigger somebody who's like person is an offensive word to them.
Oh, whatever.
So it's just that's the way the world works now. We have to try not to be offensive to anybody ever. That's something that we have to be really, really careful not to do.
No, actually, controversy breeds engagement. Fuck that.
There you go. I was just gonna say. Oh, fuck that, man. Bad attention is good attention, right? I was just mentioning that to somebody yesterday. I was like, you know what I've noticed is the amount of like canceling that I receive personally over the years is directly proportionate to how popular I am at that moment. So if I'm getting 12 million views a month, at least 3 videos a month of other channels trying to cancel me, making drama content on me. If I'm down to making like 100,000 views a month, like crickets chirping, nobody anywhere like cares. I can say, I literally say the most controversial stuff over on the Twitch thing, and just nothing. Crickets. It's not even worth anybody's time because they're like, he doesn't got enough SEO. He doesn't got enough clout to do anything. So it's kind of nice in a way. It's kind of nice to be up in the, not playing in like the Kanye West echelons where it's like everything you say will be used against you in a court of internet law. Yeah. But it's so you have some advantages there, but the downside, of course, is I don't get to like play demolition derby with like Gulfstream jets. But one day, man, that'll be the goal. Before I die, I'll be in like a brand spanking new like 2040 Gulfstream jet with ion propulsion, and I'm just gonna take that thing out in the middle of a fairgrounds and just crash it into an old Chevy Impala. Yeah. All right, it's time for TikTok.
Never go full Mel Gibson. Yeah,
whatever, dude. Is he still around? Like I thought he like completely disappeared. Hey, I used to hear about him all the time. You never hear about him now. So what happened? Like didn't he say like some
doing his own thing
shit or something?
I don't know. I don't get involved in that shit.
Yeah, you're lucky. I wish I didn't, but my ADHD brain gravitates to all that stuff when it pops up on my feed. I'm like, once I read it, I can't like unread it. I wish there was an unread button. I wish there was like a Control Z. Man, my life would be so much better if when I was reading stuff and it's like, oh, hey, love your videos. Hey, keep up the great work. Hey, I hope you're doing good. Hey, fuck you, fat fuck. And I'm like, God damn it. It's like I just want to hit the Control Z on that one and be like, go back, never saw it. Next, go back, never saw it. Man, life would be so much better. It would be so much better. But unfortunately, we don't have that button, so we have to pay a therapist a bunch of money for us to pretend and emulate that we have that button, which I'm okay with too. All right, let's see what's going on over here in the chat skis. Now that I think I got everything lined up, all my ducks are in a row. Let's see, viewer activity is working. YouTube is now telling me I should insert an ad right now. I'm not going to, but it's interesting that there's literally it just popped up on my dashboard and says, now would be the perfect time for you to serve an ad to your audience.
No, it's not. No.
What I'm wondering is if you serve an ad, do you think it boosts SEO? Like, do you think YouTube would go, oh, that live stream's actually serving ads, so we should put them in front of other live streams in search because we make more money because they're pushing more ads?
Maybe.
Kind of curious. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna test that theory. Insert ad.
All right, I'm gonna go use the restroom then.
Do it. go take a piss, man. All right, I clicked the insert ad button. Is anybody seeing an ad? Seeing an ad here. I'm typing in chat. So AuxxZillary need to take a piss anyway, so this is a good time to do whatever YouTube tells me to. Because I'm starting to think, like, just analyzing everything, it seems like YouTube doesn't pick the best channels that you'd want to watch or the content you want to watch. They pick the content that is, of course, in the realm of what you might want to watch, but they lean more towards something that you'll watch but makes them the most money. Like, I think that definitely plays into the algorithm. Oh, no ad for you guys because you're premium? Rock on, man. Wow, it's good to see that so many people are premium. I think premium is actually a good proposition with YouTube, especially now that they're going to be taking 4K away with non-premium. You know, do you know that's going to cut back on their bandwidth consumption by like 75%? Like, think about that. How crazy is that? That just changing one thing, like getting rid of 4K streaming, except for premium people that pay. It's like now they can stream literally four 1080p streams for the cost of one 4K. And that's without using the high quality codec. That's like just using they look similar. If you're using the high quality 4K codec, it's even more than that. The bit rate's even higher. So but man, a lot of people have had their pee-pee in a pickle over this. And I understand why. I get it. I get it. People, they don't like being given something and then have it taken away. That happens so frequently with online services. They get you hooked. You spend your time bringing your friends and family over and investing in the platform and doing all that. And then they're just like, okay, well, we're going to take all that away now and make you pay. And you're like, well, It took so long to build that, you don't want to leave. Yeah, I'm talking about like, YouTube's new premium thing coming up or whatever. They're going to stop streaming 4K to anybody that doesn't have premium.
Oh, I thought they backed away from that.
Oh, did
they killed the experiment early.
Oh, did they? Because I was reading about this a couple days ago. Can somebody in chat confirm? Did they actually go back on that and say they're not going to do it?
I know that they killed their experiment. I don't know that they decided to not do it. I got the feeling they decided not to. Like they were going to be like, nah. I don't know, man. I don't see an issue with it. I can't believe that a significant percentage of YouTube consumers are watching in 4K. Can't believe it.
No. I think the majority of people that are watching on 4K are going to be people that are on TVs, like the large TVs with the smart apps and stuff, which does make up quite a bit of viewership, but nowhere near mobile devices.
I'd say no more than 10%. Couldn't be more than 10%.
You really think it's that low?
Even if you're watching on a TV, I doubt that you're watching in 4K. It's a combination of lack of bandwidth. Most homes aren't equipped to do 4K like at a significant amount. It's just the internet capability just isn't there.
Yeah, because I stream 4K on my iPad Pro when I watch on there, not on my iPhone though. Even though the iPhone technically can do it, like it does some scaling shit, but I don't. There's no benefit to it. The screen is too damn small. iPhone or iPad, there is a little bit of a benefit to it because it actually does have the resolution capable of visualizing it up close to your face.
Yeah.
The 4K also is like really good. Like if you're streaming YouTube in like VR, like if you're doing the whole VR experience, blowing up full screen, that it actually makes a huge difference there.
Sure.
But yeah, most people, I'd have to say the vast majority of people nowadays are consuming content almost exclusively on their cell phones.
Yeah. And to do that at 4K is stupid. You're either on mobile, like a cell signal, which you can with 5G and even 4G stuff like LTE, like it works. But are you going to eat up your data? Like you're going to really do that?
Yeah, I'm actually
30 gigs or whatever, 50 gigs maybe if they're being generous, and you're going to do that for 4K YouTube content. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a big problem. People don't realize just how fast the bandwidth it's heating up. Think about that. If 4K, you are consuming at minimum 4 times the bandwidth to watch the same exact thing. Just have it be a little bit sharper if you're on a large format like 4K screen. And
your cell phone probably doesn't have 4K like. No, screen. It's probably 1440 at best.
Yep. There's a couple of Android phones that did like 4K, and there was even an Android phone that did an 8K panel. But at that point, you're just putting stress on the graphics card, and you're killing the battery life for like literally zero visual gain. It's just to put a number on a box, basically. You can't see the differences between 1080 and 4K on mobile either. Yeah, no, and I don't even notice. Hell,
because the screen is only topping out at 1440p.
Dude, I would even be so bold as to say that most people, unless they actively like looked, like at the stats, I don't think they'd even be able to notice the difference between 720p and 1080p
on my phone. On my phone, it'd have to be something like incredibly detailed. Like I've noticed on my TV, my more like the nice one out in the living room, I can tell that there's a huge difference between 720p and 1080p.
Oh hell yeah!
On a big screen like that.
Difference between 4K and 8K on a 74 inch.
Yeah. So, but honestly, yeah. I do notice 720 versus 1080 on your phone. On your phone, I could see where maybe depending on the content you're watching. Sure, yeah.
I mean, it does make a difference, but let's be honest, you're not really like super comfortable, and you're not like when you're watching your phone, you're not like in an ergonomic position, like sitting back in a chair, like watching it like a television set. You're usually like holding it in an airport or sitting on the toilet between your legs. Half the time, the people don't even turn it into a horizontal orientation because they're reading comments and stuff, and it's in a little thumbnail at the top. Yeah, when you're watching TikTok and you're just scrolling through the content and everything, I don't see anybody going, oh, well, that content looks so much better than that because that's in that's 1080 and this is 720p. It just seems like on a mobile experience, there's not that instant expectation in your head that it's supposed to be as crispy as humanly possible. It's more like the convenience, right? Like you'd rather not have buffering and hiccuping or have your battery life completely blown up, which is another thing 4K does. Is you'll notice when you stream 4K content, especially on Netflix, I noticed this on the phone gets pretty damn warm. Yeah, like it gets downright hot, and so streaming movies in 4K, it's like if you turn down your LCD brightness, which is the biggest power consumer in your device, you might be able to watch 2 movies, instead of just like the one. when you're in 4K with like everything like cranked up to the max bit rate, best encoding, that's going to chew through that battery like super fast. I've also had this problem with my iPhone personally, the iPhone 11, where if I leave YouTube in the background, like if I'm playing a video and I pause it and I go into the background, I don't know if it's still encoding it or something, but the phone will actually get hot and it'll start draining the battery like crazy. And then I go through and I close all the apps. And then when I finally close the freaking iPhone or close the YouTube app, the phone cools down like almost instantly. So I'm like, what in the hell is YouTube doing in the background on that phone? Because first of all, I thought on iOS, everything suspends when you put it in the background. Like it can have like living threads that do like useful things in the background, but the app itself is supposed to like mostly freeze, right? It's supposed to go into like a hibernating state where instead of multitasking, you're more or less just running one app at a time that gets the full attention of the device. And so I'm wondering why there's so many apps now. You open them up, you leave them in the background, they start building up. You have like 100 apps open, and it's like you only have one in focus, and you're only really using one. But somehow all the other ones are consuming so much power that your battery ends up lasting like 4 or 5 hours. Yeah, and that's something I deal with a lot. I did look up the YouTube thing. It looks like I can't find anything. Did anybody here in chat find a link to see if they went back on the dropping 4K streaming and only doing it for premium? Because I know they've been doing a couple things. That's why I'm thinking that it might be something else that you're thinking of. No,
all I know is they ended the experiment.
Okay, so they
haven't announced whether or not they were the experiment of whether they were going to pay for 4K or not.
Oh, so they just ended the experiment and there was no. Oh, you just don't know what the end result was.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, it sounded like they killed the experiment early, but beyond that, they didn't say whether they were going to move forward with the idea or not.
Okay,
Linus even did a quickie tech video about it.
Actually, it was a pretty long video.
Oh, I thought it was under the tech quickie thing.
I think it was.
He talked about it. He's like, I think it was a good idea. Like blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Well, so he may have more insight. All I remember is just some stuff I stumbled on Twitter. They killed it, and honestly, why not? Why not charge for the 4K? Like the people who already pay for YouTube TV or YouTube Premium or whatever the fuck they're calling it now. Like they'll get a nice bonus, some sort of exclusivity. They can feel smug about it. The people who want or truly like need to watch their content in 4K will pony up or not. Like you can find the content elsewhere, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's why not?
I actually think it's a good call on YouTube's part.
Yeah.
For some of the reasons Linus says, and some of the reasons I disagree with Linus.
Sure.
And I know Linus has always been hardcore towards. I mean, he's pretty firm on a stance that an ad blocker is piracy. Sure. And I don't quite believe that. Like I don't look at it that way, because piracy, when it's legal, when something is actually legal and the platform is allowing you to do it, like even if they don't like it, they're still allowing you to do it. They can turn that off if they want to. It just requires them to make some infrastructure changes. They just haven't, they haven't weighed it to the point where they're like, It's so bad, we need to do something about it in this way. Instead, they're like, you know what? If we just make it where 4K can only go out, which is our highest bandwidth consumer across the board, if we just limit 4K to premium, then the people, like you said, that really want the 4K are just going to get premium, because now there's a reason to get it, right? Before, there's no reason to get it because it's like, oh, don't watch any ads. Well, I don't anyways. I put on the ad blocker, right?
Yep.
So now they've got a reason to actually get premium. So there's going to be a lot more people on premium and a lot less streams going out as 4K default.
Yeah,
which is good, because I'm sure there's devices too. Like if you pull out your brand new shiny phone that has a 4K screen, I guarantee you the metadata that's being sent from the phone and the browser and the app is that this is a 4K capable device. So YouTube is going to go, oh, you have the bandwidth, let's send you 4K so it looks as good as it can. And now with premium, it's gonna cap out at 1080p unless you upgrade. And I think that's going to reduce their bandwidth consumption across the board. I mean, at a max, it could drop down to a quarter.
Yeah,
like for the free users, for the bandwidth, and that's huge. That quarter of bandwidth that they're using could more than account for the losses from ad block, and that's not even counting the people that are coming over to premium now, which now get the 4K content back, but they're legitimately paying for it. And I also love the idea that with premium, this is the thing I like the most about premium, is you are giving your money when you sign up for premium. You are giving your money to the creators you watch and only the creators you watch. And I think that's really cool. No, that's what they claim. They claim that if you pay premium and watch 3 channels, the leftover, well, they take their cut, obviously. I'm not talking about, they take their cut, but whatever's left of the premium cut after YouTube takes their cut, that gets divided up based on watch time for the channels that you watch. So it's not like if you have a channel that, nobody's watching who has premium, you will get no premium revenue. If your base is 50% premium users and they're watching your content, you're going to get a cut of the premium revenue from that user. If that user watches your channel 75% of the time, they get 75% of that premium from that subscriber. So what it does is it ends up guaranteeing a lot more money to the creators that are being watched the most, instead of the old model, which is the ad system, where it's just, if somebody has an ad blocker, you get nothing. And if somebody doesn't have an ad blocker, you feed an ad to them and you might get some money from that, but it's a tiny, minuscule amount from each viewer. Whereas this is like your dedicated users are able to give you a much larger chunk for what they watch. And I think that's actually a pretty cool way to do it, because that way you could have people with small audiences that have a loyal fan base that could actually make a meaningful amount of money. And the ad system didn't really work well in that area. The ad system would be like, okay, well, if you have a channel that has 500 million views or whatever, we're going to put these 5-minute no pause ads in front of them. That not unskippable. They obviously some people had to watch them depending on the device, but it's like they got a much higher payout and a much higher percentage of that than a small user if they ran the ad on their channel, because it was all based on like how many potential viewers on this channel is this advertisement reaching. And then each one of those views would be a percentage of that. And the more views you got, the higher the percentage went, right? It'd go from a CPM of like $3 all the way up to like, at one point it was like $27, but that was the golden years, right? We're not going to see those anymore. But ad blocker actually did this. Like no mistake, ad blocker is 100% responsible for this course of action from YouTube. They're not the only ones that I'm seeing a course of action like this from. I'm seeing other platforms do similar stuff. You're also starting to see ad-supported plans like on Netflix and stuff like that, where but to be fair, Netflix going to an ad-supported system for like, their cheaper monthly fee, people are like, oh man, I really hate that. But the thing is, like, YouTube already kind of operated on that model. You didn't pay up front, right? You didn't pay up front, but they still did limit what you could see if you didn't have premium. You could only see the shows that they showed you, and the advertisements, had to be shown. Well, I mean, you could ad block them, but if they had a system in place to stop ad blocker, which they could do, you would be forced to watch those ads as a part of that experience. So it's like they're kind of giving you, they're not cutting anybody out. It's like you can watch the content no matter what. It's just, do you want to pay to have no ads, or do you not want to pay and just weather some ads? And they're trying to figure out how can we get it to where people have to watch. And that's phase 2 of this plan. I guarantee it. Like, I'm calling it right now, and I have been for a couple of weeks now. YouTube is moving 4K content to premium first. That's their first move.
Yeah.
Their second move is, once they get it down to the free streams only being 1080p or less, meaning a quarter of the bandwidth, that frees up not only the bandwidth, but the memory and the processing power for them to put in the anti-ad block system that I've seen some of the adult sites using. And basically what it does is it embeds the actual advertisement into the RTMP video stream as a part of it. So when you start the video, it's one continuous stream. Like if you open up Videoland Player and you pointed it to it, it would be one continuous stream that's the ad followed by the video spliced into it in such a way that it's fluid. so that you can't skip it. There's no indicated point that you could play off of to skip that advertisement. Now you could start the video and you could just fast forward it or jump it a couple times and get past the video, but people are already doing that with the skip ad button, right? So that's not a big deal. but that would guarantee that an ad gets served in the video, and then only the people that are actively going in there and trying to jump past it and then rewind and then go a little further to try to not miss any words. At that point, that people are just going to get tired of that shit, and some people are going to be like, you know what, I'm just going to get premium. That's fine. And all the people that run an ad blocker are going to be charged, or not charged, but they're going to be generating some form of revenue from the system. Even if it's just an impression, even if they just skip it, they start the video, they skip over the damn thing, forward. They still saw a couple of frames of it. It's still going to count for fractions of a cent for an impression. And so I think that when they move to that model, we're going to see AdSense like recover back to numbers, from the days before, where there's actually a good CPM. And, like right now, my channel, 80% of the views, according to my analytics, 80% of the views are not monetized.
Wow.
So out of every 100 people that watch videos on my channel or watch the stream, only 20% of them are watching an ad. That's it. And I was like, holy crap, dude.
And we got bills to pay, man. Y'all got to be watching those ads. That's messed up.
That's the problem is we do this to ourselves.
I'm just kidding. It's fine.
No,
I don't care.
No, I'm of the same mind. That's like why I didn't agree with Linus when he said it was piracy. Is I'm like, no, it's not really, because at the end of the day, you're still getting value from the person watching the video on the platform, because they are increasing the SEO of the video. They're increasing engagement. They might be liking or leaving a comment. That's also increasing engagement. So there's other value to be had from somebody, even if they don't watch an ad.
Yeah. Don't take that too serious.
It's just you have to have some people watching ads at some point. Otherwise, there's no revenue being generated, and then those numbers, the only reason those views count, like when you have 100 million views on a video, the only reason that number is significant is because the platform makes more money generating those views than it does serving those views, and a portion of that goes to the creator. If every single person blocked ads 100% and no ad was served, they'd have no way to maintain the business unless they had enough premium subscriptions, because they would have no revenue stream. And AdSense, even with all the ad blockers, AdSense still generates like an insane amount of revenue. Like insane. Like I remember Linus showed his pie chart. I think it was like a couple of months ago. He showed his pie chart of like distributions at Linus Media Group, and he said that his largest revenue stream was still AdSense, and then the close second was they're in video ads.
Okay,
or maybe they were really close though, really close.
Ad spots, like paid
so
for ad spots,
so it's pretty amazing that even with their 2 integrated ads per video or whatever, they were still generating that huge of an AdSense revenue because of their overall viewership, even with all the people running ad block, even with all the people that that aren't generating any revenue for the system. So it's a little bit of a slippery slope. I mean, Google can float the thing indefinitely at a loss. Like, let's just be honest here. Google leverages YouTube for a lot of their other businesses, just like Amazon leverages Twitch at a loss to sell products on Amazon.
Sure.
It's like you make money with the whole thing, right?
I find it hard to believe that Twitch operates at a loss.
See, now this is the thing. I can't confirm it, but everybody I've talked to, including the internal guy, my old partner before he left and unfortunately passed away, he said that they were operating at a loss and still were operating at a loss. So
that's a little shocking to me.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like how, because I'm with you. I mean, there's some streamers on that platform that are generating tens of millions of dollars. Dude,
just crunching like some napkin math. Like even with them saying that like what is it? They were saying that Amazon charges like $1,000 a month. Like they put out some comparison thing because of they changed the split, right? The partner split isn't 70-30 anymore. It's going to be 50-50, unless you're like grandfathered in or something. And they were saying that and I'm sure somebody will correct me on this because I'm totally just pulling this out of the air from what I can vaguely recall, that like if you streamed something, it worked out to be like if you streamed like 50 hours a week, with an average of like 250 or something viewers, like concurrent.
Yep.
It costs $1,000 a month to serve that amount of content for them, because that's like at the going rate for AWS. So first off, yep. I don't believe Amazon is charging themselves the market rate for bandwidth and content distribution and all that stuff. There's no way you're going to charge an arm of your company the market rate Like, duh, no way.
To be fair,
but still,
they do it on paper, but they're basically paying themselves. It's like you paying yourself $20 to mow your lawn. It's like
right.
Net. There's no net loss there.
Right. And so then, okay, so extrapolate that out to somebody like, I don't fucking know, Summit, right? Summit 1G, somebody who has like 35,000 viewers all the time. Like if he goes live, he's getting 20 to 30,000 viewers. Or even some of these bigger ones, like Jack just mentioned here, Hassan, Amaranth, and Moist Critical. Those three would generate over 3.7 mil a month combined. That's just on their subs. That's just their subs, like the sub split there, I imagine. Like, and that's not to mention ad revenue.
Half of that goes to the platform. Well, not half, but I think it's 30%. 30% goes to the platform on the standard 50-70 split. But now they're going to a 50-50 split after $100,000, which is gonna knock those guys' revenue down. So I
can't believe it. I cannot believe that they aren't making just gobs of money hand over fist. I can't believe it. So yeah, it's no way.
And even if they're not, like I said, it's it can be the biggest loss leader in their business, and they can still leverage it to make money with Amazon. At the end of the day, if they all make money,
dude, the deal. Well, actually, they probably pay the NFL for the deal. Thursday Night Football. They have exclusive streaming rights for Thursday Night Football on Twitch/Amazon Video.
Oh, that can't be cheap.
Yeah.
Sports stuff is always insanely expensive for licensing.
Yeah, so that's a big deal. But it brings in ads, it brings in eyeballs. Yeah. So like it obviously has to be paying for itself. It has to be making money, or they wouldn't do it. Like they wouldn't have spent nearly $1 billion to acquire Twitch if Twitch did not at least have the potential to make more money than what they like. It's dumb.
I think how long ago did Amazon buy Twitch?
Couple years now.
It's a couple years, right?
Good 4 or 5 years now, I think.
So if it wasn't turning, because I understand, like a lot of companies will like buy another company and operate at a loss for a couple of years while they bring it up to snuff.
Sure,
but it sounds to me like they would have ditched it by now, or they would have sold it off to another entity if it wasn't generating some kind of revenue, like you said. Like, right, they have to be, whether it be through their insert, like driving to Amazon through affiliate links, or whether it be their brand deals that just integrate into the dashboard so creators can just go, pimp this product for 5 minutes and we'll give you $250, the bounty board or whatever. It's like all that stuff can be leveraged to generate them a lot of money through another platform. So even if Twitch operates as losses at its own, Amazon, there's no way it is. I mean, Amazon reports massive earnings every single year, right? I don't think Amazon in recent history has ever been in the red.
8 years ago.
Oh, it's 8 years ago?
Wow.
Oh, then they're definitely turning a profit. There's no way you'd hold a business for 8 years that was losing.
Yeah, man. So, yeah.
And the thing is, they're making these controversial decisions that are driving off some of their bigger creators, and they wouldn't be doing that if they were operating at a loss. Like, the only way they can do that is if they're making a huge profit, where they can be picky and choosy about who they're.
I'm even still like halfway. I'm like, man, do I really want to put effort into like live streaming on Twitch, or do I want to put effort into live streaming on YouTube? And I kind of have a choice. I can do one or the other, but like, man, YouTube still needs a lot of quality of life improvements for their live streaming experience before I'm totally sold on it.
Yeah, the amount they take on super chats too is just ridiculous. Like, it's completely unacceptable.
That's like part of it too. Is like, man, just better to just PayPal me direct, you guys. Like, or just buy something from a, which I don't have a merch store or anything, but it's like, it'd be better. Like, don't send me bits on Twitch. Don't sub or super chat through YouTube. Like, fuck that. Just reverse pickpocket me directly. So send it to me in the mail, even. Like, come on.
That'd be funny. We just put up like a mailing address to a PO box, and everybody just mails checks, and we're basically Peter Popoff and Kenneth Copeland. Like,
man. Hey, checks. You want some nerd water? I'll fucking I'll find some white label bottled water company who'd put my face on it, and you could have one, man, for $10. Cheap.
Yeah, go piss in the hot tub or whatever and sell it in little vials. Maybe we'll fart in it too.
Look, hey, I will collect you some genuine 100% Pacific Northwest rain that's happening right now. You want some fucking Seattle rain? I'll get you some Seattle rain. Where are you at? You done. I'll pull that shit right out the air for you.
Cures AIDS and cancer and everything else.
Just don't give money to Twitch or YouTube anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and the thing is, like, that's something that's a completely viable option. However, the super chats do also, like, the benefit of the super chats of the system is that YouTube will promote you more the more super chats you get. So if they see somebody who's getting a bunch of super chats, because of course they're getting a big cut of the pie, so they're like, okay, well, even if this is the channel we think they'd rather watch, we're gonna put this one in front of them, because hopefully if they click on this one, we're gonna make a lot more revenue. And so, anytime you see some kind of a drain through a system where revenue is being shared between the platform and the creator, you're always going to see a bias in the algorithm pushing towards promoting the content that makes them money versus the content that makes them nothing. So and that's one thing that I definitely have noticed. And so if you, like, for instance, a really great example of this is like post a video on YouTube. Like if you have a big channel, post a video on your channel and disable monetization. Like just disable it across the board. No cards, no pre-roll, nothing. Just disable it so it's not a monetized video, and then publish it. It will not come close to the viewership that would have got if you had monetized it out of the gate. Now you can demonetize it later. You can monetize it during the kick up front where everybody's watching it, and then when it cools off, you can turn off monetization from that point on if you want to. But just know that the reason you see so many ads, if you don't have ad block, the reason you see so many ads when you click on videos, when there's so many ads on the platform that can't even be monetized in the first place, is because the algorithm is consciously saying this person right now, based on their dossier and their watching habits over the years, this is the content that they want to watch. However, this content doesn't make us any money from this channel, so let's go find other channels with similar keywords, similar dialect, similar imagery. Let's go find a channel like that does have monetization enabled, and then go figure out which one of those channels is making the most money, that has the audience with the most followers, or what would they call them, channel members. Go find that, and they're doing super chats and live streams, and then based on if they're doing shorts and everything, they check all the boxes, that's going to be the person who's at the top of the search box. It's not necessarily going to be the person who you would like to watch the most. It's going to be the person that you will still watch and you will enjoy, but will generate the platform the most money. And I've been watching YouTube do all kinds of shady things lately. Like I've been running a diff between my subscribed channels, like channels I'm subscribed to every day. And I'm seeing multiple channels that I love, like channels I've been subscribed to for years and years and years, unsubbed. I don't do anything. I'm not doing any unsubbing anywhere. I've already approached YouTube. They claim that they don't do it, that they've never unsubbed anybody from anybody's channel, which is BS by itself. Because remember that every time they go back and do a recall in the system, all the people that subbed from that point on get unsubbed because they go back to an old backup. So they do this all the time.
It's like wiping the server kind of thing. Exactly. It's like, we're going to start over, everybody. Get ready.
So they're doing that now for channels, and it looks like from the people I've talked to, the best pattern that I've extrapolated so far is the more channels that you subscribe to, the higher likelihood this is to happen. The frequency.
So I guess that makes sense. Sure.
Yeah, I subscribe to over 1,000 channels. Obviously, I can't even watch 1,000 channels worth of content every single day. Yeah. So what YouTube does is it goes through those channels and says, okay, which channels are producing content the most frequently that you're loyal and you watch? What channels produce us the most revenue, whether it be ads, super chats, or follows, or members. And they go through the algorithm goes through that and says, okay, this is the videos that we're going to put in their suggested box. These are the videos that we're going to put. Now you go into your sub box and you're like, well, these are all the channels I sub to. So that's going to show you in order when they publish them, which is great. But I've been noticing that videos have been missing out of there. And I'm like, oh, what videos are missing out of there? Well, Cody's Lab went missing like 6 times now. Jeez. And over the last year, and I've been having my just as a sanity check, I've been having my wife every time it happens, I have her come in the room, or if she's sitting next to me, say, look, and I open it up and it's unsubscribed, and then I subscribe again, and I'm like, why is this happening? And I noticed that Cody's watch time and views and everything in the toilet, and it used to be a really popular channel. Same thing happened with Fish Whisperer. A Fish Whisperer used to get over 1 million views per video in 24 hours, but his channel didn't have the same monetization as other channels did, and they phased him out. So they started unsubbing people from him, and now his views went down to under 100K per video. And I was like, wow, these huge drops kind of are correlating with people just being unsubscribed from them that are loyal and watch them all the time. But it seems like the channels that are most being unsubscribed, like the thing, I haven't noticed any channels unsubscribing that release a video every day. If they release a video every day and it's in my sub box and I click on it and watch 1 or 2 of them a week, that one's never at risk for being unsubbed. The one that's getting silently unsubbed are the channels where somebody releases content maybe once every 2 weeks or once a month. It's that frequency that I'm noticing that it says I'm unsubbed from when I go and look, because they just never show up in my sub box for a while. And I think YouTube algorithms just like, well, they haven't made a video in this period of time. So if we silently unsub from this person, that's going to free up another notification in their sub box to move the people we're making money off of further up in the queue to be watched.
Yeah,
like
that makes sense.
And it does from a business perspective. It's like, I'm not gonna, like, I have to wear 2 hats here. I have to wear the hat as I'm a content creator that makes a living on the platform, so I do require money. Like that's but I also like looking at it from the perspective of wearing the hat of the end user's experience, right? Like I love watching YouTube too. I watch YouTube more than any other platform. I pay for like every streaming service on the planet, and I spend most of my time in YouTube, like no kidding. I love the diversity of content. I love how random it is. I love that it's not TikTok with like a million 5-second videos, because I'm a little bit more of the type of person I like to commit to a project to the end. I don't just like to see like, oh, look what I made. Here's the end result, done. Sure. I want to like go through it with them, right? I want to enjoy it. And so I love YouTube and I love the content on it, but I feel like YouTube is heavily pushing on creators now, even subconsciously, not even so much like just straight up telling them exactly what to do, but just subconsciously through their behavior, they're steering the public into make content that's like, you know, really short, 10 minutes or under, make content that is that's super engaging to keep that watch time up. Like, you know, use every gimmick, you know, like, favorite, watch to the end. You're going to miss it. If you're to the end, write this down in the bottom, even though you're in the beginning, like then the person's like, oh, I'm going to go to the end just so I can go put that comment. Right. Use every social engineering tactic that you can to get your retention up, because if your retention is up on your videos, how long people are staying and watching the videos and how far through the video they're getting, even if they're fast forwarding. If you get those stats up, then they're going to bring more viewers to your channel.
Makes sense.
Because I mean, you're literally getting attention to the platform, so they're going to want to promote that. And then, of course, channels that are bringing in viewers from other platforms, they get a priority. So, like, if you have a big audience somewhere else, like let's say you're huge on TikTok, right? Or not? TikTok, that'd be fine. So let's say you're huge on TikTok, you have millions of followers over there, and you come over to YouTube and you create a YouTube channel. All you have to do is go create a TikTok that says, "Hey, I'm over on YouTube now. I got my behind the scenes videos of how I do this over on YouTube," and your YouTube channel will have like 100,000 subscribers in one day. And you're like, how the hell that doesn't make sense. Like, whenever I go from like YouTube to Twitch, that never happens, like that you get that much of an audience to move. But it's because they just have so many followers. Their following is so gargantuan and so viral that they bring over, even if it's 1% of their audience, it's a massive number on YouTube. And YouTube looks at that and goes, oh my God, a brand new channel went up by 100,000 subs in one day. And those 100,000 subs all came here from off platform, meaning in analytics. It wasn't from the search box on YouTube. It wasn't from another YouTube video. They literally were completely on another website and they came into the platform and watched your video. And so that brings you into their platform and their ecosystem. So they love that. So again, that's going to give you another leg up in SEO to say, this is a person that we need to put front and center. So, so with all the different content creators on different platforms, like diversifying, and, you know, the ones that are on this platform coming to this one, and the one on these platforms going to this one, and they're spread across every single platform. You start to see people kind of pick their favorite. Like, I want to watch them on YouTube, or I want to watch them on Twitch. It's the same content. But if it's different content, then there's value, because you're like, I want to see the finished product. That's on TikTok. I want to see the making of that product or behind the scenes. That might be on YouTube. And then the live stream talking about how you came up with the idea and everything could be on Twitch. And then you could have the same user give you a view on all three of those platforms from one continuous thought, if you do it right. Because you can say, when they watch the TikTok video, you can say, oh, see how this is made over on my YouTube channel. Now, if people go over there on the YouTube video, you can say, hey, do you want to see the final result? Like at the very end, after you show them how you made the thing, you don't show the final product. You just say to see the works of this, like kind of like Corridor Darts. Corridor does a good job of this. Corridor Digital. This thing where they'll create a video that's like, okay, we're doing this project and we're creating like this huge thing, and they go through the whole video and they create the whole project. And then at the very end, they're like, if you want to see the final results of this, head on over to our Corridor Digital exclusive and watch it on our page. And the reason they do that is because you just invested 20 minutes watching them create this masterpiece of CGI and AR, right? Or mixed reality. And then you're like, I want to see the end result. So then you go over to their webpage to see the final product, because if they just put it in the video, you'd watch it and you'd be done. But this way they can get a view on there and a view on the other video and double their viewership per viewer. And so there's all kinds of tactics that, you know, but the thing is, every creator, once one person does it and it's successful, then everybody does it. And once everybody does it, YouTube starts to catch on to it and go, oh, okay, so this is what they're doing. And then they'll adjust the algorithm to kind of shake the tree a little bit and add a little bit more randomness back into it, so that they have to think again and stay on their toes, and everybody has to resettle. It's kind of like a pachinko board. You run everything down to the bottom, you put all your quarters through, and it's like, okay, take all the quarters out and do it again, right? Because if YouTube just kept the algorithm static and it didn't move, like, you just see the same people at the top, and nobody would ever go up the ladder ever, right? Because they'd already master it and they'd already have a head start. So I think YouTube is kind of good at mixing stuff up. Even if I don't agree with a lot of stuff they're doing, I think they lie through their teeth about a lot of stuff. They are from a business perspective, they're doing the right thing. And I believe YouTube has been profitable for some time now.
Oh yeah, dude, it's gangster money coming out of YouTube.
I know it was pretty bad when Google bought them. When Google bought them, they were not profitable.
Oh man, it's all ad revenue now. Like,
that's gone down so much. That's gone down. And that's the other thing too, you got to take into account is things like COVID, right? Comes out of nowhere, wipes out the planet for several years. The CPMs drop through the floor because advertisers are like, why am I going to spend money to advertise my product when everybody's afraid and in survival mode, and they're not gonna buy it?
Right.
It's like at that point, you're like the advertisement, was to reach people that had expendable income. Now people are afraid and don't consider their incomes expendable anymore. So to sell ads, they had to offer like insane discounts to keep the ad money coming in. Right. And so now it's like they might have to run 10 ads to get what one ad served before made. And it's all just because of the thinking of everybody, right? Like, like one of the good examples is CPM always goes up the most in November and December.
Sure. Makes sense.
In January, it just tanks through the floor.
Yeah, because it's a big shopping day.
Exactly. And that's what it is. The advertisers are like, here's a holiday where people feel compelled to go out and spend more than they normally would. It's like, people go out and saving up for a vacation, right? They save up for Christmas. They're buying presents and stuff for their kids and their loved ones and everything. It's like, this is a holiday where people spend a lot of money. So the ads during that time are way more expensive to run, like way more. Like, I mean, I think the highest CPM I ever saw personally was $27.
Wow.
And what that means is every 1,000 views you got, $27. Boom.
That's great.
That's a lot of money. Like one video I made back in the day made $35,000. One video, the room tour, the 3 million view room tour.
Nice.
$35,000. Or, I mean, that was over the course of like 2 or 3 years.
Sure.
And the weird reason it was able to do that was because I did that room tour and it didn't really take off. It didn't really take off until you got into like November and December when the CPM went through the roof. Mm-hmm. Then that video just picked up speed and took off because everybody was sharing it. Like, oh, look at this 3D printer he has.
Yeah,
exactly. Look at the simulator. Look at this. Go to this time at X in this video. Look at this thing. It was like information, tech overload. And so people would watch that video. And of course, they're like, now they're all jazzed up about these things that they're seeing on the screen. And they're going looking for other videos with details on these things. Right. So it generates a lot of viewership on the platform and a lot of revenue from the people that get the idea to buy something and then go follow some link out to buy it. Right. And then their advertiser makes a return on their investment. And then their advertisers are, well, we sold $1 million worth of stuff today. We only had to pay you $10,000 to get that $1 million. So, maybe next time we're going to pay you, $15,000 or $20,000, we're going to up it. We're going to pay you more and more and more. Because, well, the platform's going to request it because they're like, look at the value we're giving you.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it comes down to is it's a constant battle between, how do you keep the advertisers on the platform so that you're making revenue, but you also have to make sure that the advertisers are not spending more ad money than they're making and selling the products. Otherwise they will completely pull out because it makes no sense to advertise at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, it just kind of weird observations, like how this whole, content creator thing works and why these platforms make the decisions they do. But like running full circle back to what we were originally talking about with YouTube not streaming 4K unless you have premium. I personally think it makes sense. You think it makes sense. This is a way for YouTube to recoup a lot of the revenue that's gone because of ad blockers. And honestly, I think we created this problem ourselves. And it's always that. It's always that, right? I mean, I act like that's like something special. No,
it's like a back and forth. Yeah.
It's always a back and forth, right? It's like when somebody creates security for their bank, the first person cracks it and robs the bank, they create better security, right? And then the second person comes in and tries to rob the bank, they get arrested because they weren't anticipating better security. And it's just a constant fight back and forth. And then the guy in jail like tells his buddy, oh man, we got popped because they put this new security thing in place. And then that person goes and studies it and figures out how to defeat it. And now they rob the bank and now they've defeated the new security measure, which then breeds another generation of security measures. And it's just this constant climb to the top, a battle, moving wealth between the consumer and the companies, right? They're just locked in this ever-ending battle of trying to defeat each other and get the upper edge. And places like YouTube and stuff like that, they're in a prime position to capitalize on that because they're not really selling a tangible product. I mean, they're selling bandwidth, they're selling virtualization, they're selling CPU time and memory and hard drive storage, like not physically giving it to you, but like leasing it to you in a way.
Yeah.
And you say, they're not mailing it to your house. Although that was pretty cool. Did you know that back in the day that YouTube offered a service where they would send it was like a hardened hard drive array to your business because some businesses back then didn't have broadband, right? So they'd say you could rent this thing and it was like a giant like Drobo like NAS that you'd plug into your system, download all your video content onto, and physically mail it, put it in a box. Oh no, sorry, it wasn't YouTube. Sorry, it was Dropbox. I think it was Dropbox that did this.
Oh, okay.
Way back in the day. This is like way back in the day. You could actually just rent a box, and I was wondering like YouTube should have did that too because it would have been a good idea for somebody just to archive all their stuff. Like let's say you were already on a platform and you don't want to download 100 terabytes and then upload 100 terabytes. You could just get these giant boxes of dense packed discs, upload all your data into it or whatever, and then put it back in the box they sent it to you and put the new pre-shipped label on it. It goes back, they pull it out, plug it in their network, and download it to your account locally.
Wow.
And that way you know, and then that way you're not like using like a shitload of internet bandwidth and stuff to transfer all this video around.
Sure.
And I think Netflix did the same thing too. I think Netflix was using up so much bandwidth syncing the movie content between all their different distribution nodes that at one point I think they were even doing that too, where they were literally just shipping dense pack storage of like the base movie library, so they didn't have to sync that entire thing up every time like a new license deal came out or something like that, and it added, you know, another 20% content to the platform. It was actually cheaper for them to just go that route than it was to consume the bandwidth to transfer that to every single one of their nodes. Now this is way back in the day. I don't think they really do that anymore, because now it's like what, a gigabit connection is bog standard.
It's nothing now.
Yeah, and if you're a corporation, I mean, now you have like terabit connections, right? I mean, you're not worried about bandwidth. But back then that was a big deal, right? I mean, back then it's like, you know, for them to sync their movie library between one server and another server, they might clog up that entire network and slow down tens of thousands of people because they're consuming so much bandwidth like on that lane.
Sure.
So they're going through the choke points on the internet. And it wasn't very balanced. It wasn't very balanced back then. So I just thought that was kind of an interesting solution to a problem. It's just to use giant freaking boxes of hard drives essentially, and plug it in.
It's probably still the fast, like bit for bit, probably fastest way of transferring data. Like you just load up a bunch of 12 terabyte drives and ship them overnight or whatever. Is like, yeah, that's way fast.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So, and the other thing is, like, I guess cable companies did this at one point too, when they started doing the video on demand stuff. They would just basically ship the entire library. Like when they started the service, they just ship it to every one of the locations. And they would just load it into their rack at their local thing. And all the content would just be there in that rack, right? And they just pushed in there. And then if more content came, they just slid in another rack of drives and another rack of drives. And they just had it all as local distribution. But now they've got, what's that technology called where they can send a video connection to multiple people using the same bandwidth? It's like multicasting, I think. So multicasting, like where you send one video feed and then a bunch of people on the same node can watch that same video feed being streamed to them, but not eat up the same bandwidth over and over and over again. So like I'm serving one video, I'm sending one stream out, but that stream is being like multiplexed off into multiple different people.
Cool.
And that way I'm not having to connect to each individual person and send them a discrete stream. It's actually the networking hardware is smart enough to say, oh, this is the same packet that's going to all these people. So you just send the one packet there and it broadcasts it to everybody else.
It's got to be kind of how live streaming works now. Like I'm sending an RTMP stream to a box in Seattle somewhere, and then that box is distributing it out to everybody else. Nobody's directly connecting to my computer to see my live streams. They're connecting to the server, and that's sending it out to everybody.
Totally
so
right.
It sounds at least similar, if not a technical. Like I'm sure the details are different, but
no, that does make sense. Hey, I want to thank a couple of our super chatters. You guys are awesome. We appreciate you so much.
I don't know, except for that guy. I don't know.
Yeah, Eric G, just ignore him. Him and his fake $2 bill.
I don't know. I just wanted to say that guy. It doesn't matter who it was.
Oh, you didn't know it was Eric? I
just cut you. Yeah, I just cut in front of you. So
he's our truck driver. He said, woohoo, gonna lurk while I drive. Always love entertaining you, Eric. It's good to have you, brother. Robert Settles, thank you for the $20 super chat. He didn't want us to read anything. He's just like, here, have $20. We love that, man. He's like the quiet guy sitting in the darkness throwing the bills up on the stripper stage. I love it. Yeah. Is it Sotan Mush or Sotan Mush? Thank you for the $11.15 super chat. He said hello from the UK. Two tins of Punk IPA.
Sorry,
I'm feeling mellow. Peace.
Your cheeseball euro. You probably sent us 20 euros or no. If you're UK, it would have been. They're back on their own pound now, right?
They're on pound sterling.
It's weak sauce. It's weak sauce right now.
Dude,
I think
I was telling people if you want to go on a Europe vacation, now's the time to do it, dude.
It's a little under the dollar right now, I think, but it's not that bad.
No, but at one time it was so much over the dollar.
He's like, because like, man, I don't know. It's 1.8. I don't know what PBPS is. Petabytes per second. Oh, that's something else.
It's actually up a little. It's actually up a little bit.
I only bring it up because a pint here, depending on what I'm drinking, costs about $11. So thank you for one pint from me.
Jerry doesn't drink.
It depends what I'm drinking. Depends where I'm at and what I'm drinking. Sure.
Really, a single beer could cost $11?
Yeah.
Holy cow, I didn't know that. No, actually I didn't know that. I know that there's some fancy places, like if you go to like Daniel's Broiler, a beer is going to cost you like $15, right?
Yeah. I would say averaged out across like whether I'm at like the scuzzy place or a nice place, it probably averages out to about $10 or $11 for a pint. Sure.
Yeah, so check this out. British pound right now. The British pound is for their dollar. For us, it's $1.13 for $1, 1 British pound. So it's so close. It's almost the dollar to dollar ratio. But you know how much it was back in 2000? Let's see. The peak was in 2013. It was $1.68 to 1. So you were literally getting like a 50% increase in how much you had to pay in dollars for the pound, and now they're almost equal. Which means you're basically getting like a 50% off coupon if you go on a vacation to Europe right now.
Trying to see
because of your exchange rate.
I could be leaning a little expensive, to be honest, because I don't think I would. Here's a good Red Robin. So Red Robin is like it's a
Red Robin is considered.
It's a burger place. It's nice. It's okay. Let's say it's okay. It's mid. It's mid for it's a chain burger place. Mid. Let's see if they've got beer prices on their menu. Probably not. Because it's
like growing up, they were my Daniel broiler because my family was so poor.
Dude,
we go there on like coupons once a year.
It's still a nice freaking. I like a good burger from them. Honestly, they're not gonna give me a fucking beer price on their menu.
No, I get you on Red Robin. They are expensive. Their drinks are expensive. Even their sodas are expensive,
right? Yeah. So I'm just trying to find like a good fucking like example of what a beer costs around here. Oh yeah, and that's it too. Like if I'm drinking, so that's going to depend, right? So if I'm drinking a domestic draft, sure, it's going to cost me like $6. Okay, but if I want a nice beer, like fucking Hofbrau or something, that's going to cost me more. That's going to cost me 8 to 10. Yeah, man, a freaking Hofbrau Hefeweizen or something is going to cost me more. So yeah, I could drink Rainier all day and spend, I don't know, $5 maybe.
Yeah, I haven't drank in a long time because I got the fatty liver, so I'm not allowed to.
Yeah,
they said my liver is obese, so I'm not allowed to drink anymore. So
items aren't 1-to-1 in cost and taxes. Yeah, see, that's why it's like harder for me to find a good,
The most expensive beer I've ever had, I think, was $15, and it was it was one of those weird like 12% microbrews or whatever. The ones that come in like a little snifter, and you're like, "What is this? 8 ounces
it's
of crap?"
6 ounce, 6 ounce.
And you drink it, it doesn't taste like it has any alcohol in it. It's like the smoothest thing you've ever drank in your life, and you're just plastered on your ass in like 20 minutes.
Yes,
that's what happened when I went on the trip with Metal Jesus Rocks down to Portland Retro Gaming Expo like years ago.
Man. Yeah.
I went there and my wife dropped me off. She wanted to go back to the hotel with the kiddo. So she dropped me off at the bar to hang out with them. And she came and picked me up. I think it was like 2 hours later. And I was missing a shoe. And I was just pounded off my ass. And like I could barely stand on my 2 feet. And so I walked out of the door of the bar. I don't have a shoe on. I don't even know where my shoe is. And I opened the door on the car and I get in. She's like, "Oh, you're looking like you're having a pretty good time." And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Where's your shoe?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And so what happened apparently the next day was they Metal Jesus or Jason, he reached under the table and took my shoe off when I was so plastered. Like he said, I was literally just like bobbing in and out of consciousness. And this is after drinking 3. I just these 3 really expensive, like super strong microbrews. He's like, "Hey, go easy on that, go easy on that." And I'm like, "Nah, whatever. I'm a big dude. I can handle it." No, I couldn't handle it. I was so freaking drunk. So the next day I come back and I'm like, "Hey dude, do you know where my shoe went?" And he's like, "Yeah, we took it and you have to find it somewhere in the expo. We put it on one of the tables for sale for $5. And if you find your shoe before somebody buys it for $5, you get it back." And so there's a whole video on the internet. If you go look for Barnacules and Portland Retro Gaming Expo, you'll find the video of me spending 10 minutes of the video is me doing a scavenger hunt, trying to find my shoe on a table in amongst a bunch of like Nintendo games and retro gaming memorabilia. And that wasn't staged. That wasn't a stage gimmick for the video. A lot of people thought that was just like staged. It was just like editing and we were just making a story. It's like, no, they legitimately stole my shoe. My wife was kind of pissed about it because she had to go hotel and walk around and get my sock all dirty. And the next day when I came in, I didn't have a shoe. So I had to go to the expo in a sock, literally wearing a sock, walking to the expo floor. Yeah, no, It was the whole thing. That really did happen though. But people will always accuse you of faking something because so many people do.
Oh yeah.
It's like, why even do stuff for real? Like if you're making videos, like why even do stuff for real anymore? Because people just accuse you of it being fake if it's actually entertaining.
Yeah.
And so there's like really no value to doing it for real other than for your own experience, which I mean is still a part of making videos, sure. But I'm just saying I understand why so many people fake shit right now. Like I understand why reality TV fake stuff, YouTube fake stuff, why everybody's like, oh my God, we totally didn't plan that. And it's like perfectly clear they did. It's just people want to believe, right? At the end of the day, people want to believe. It's the same thing with magic. It's like, that magic is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not talking about like the entertainment value or like what is it, like close-up magic and stuff like that. Like, it's a gimmick.
Well, that's different though. That's part of the experience. Like, like when I go to a haunted house, like I know it's all fake, but I let go enough to still be scared,
And that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. So it's that feeling of letting go. It's like you're watching it and you want to believe, so you allow yourself to believe.
Yeah.
Even though everything in your head would tell you normally, if you were in a scrutinizing mode, you'd be like, this is wrong. No, this can't be real. But when you're sitting there and you're in the moment, you're watching this reality TV show and it's like these people are on a boat and they're playing like the Jaws music and they're like, oh my God, this guy's going to die. You tense up. But it's like, why are you tensing up? It's like, obviously, the fact that they filmed this and there's 10 camera guys in the water with this dude, like, there's no way he actually got hurt. But they try to play it like that. Like, oh my God, he was in so much danger. That great white almost killed him. And it's like, no, obviously there was people around. They had full control of the situation. But you still watch it and you still get excited. Magic is very much the same way. It's like when I went to Las Vegas, I went to the old strip, with like the Golden Nugget and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a dude out there, and I wish I could remember his name because I want to go find more of his stuff. He was a street performer. And he walked around with like a little table that was folded up. It was just like, little like TV table looking thing with a little tablecloth. And he'd walk up and down the strip and he would just find a place where there was a bunch of people and he'd just stop, set up his little table, put his little thing over it, put his top hat on, and then just start barking, just yelling into the crowd, tell them, come and check out the magic trick free of charge. If I amaze you, then you can give me whatever you want. If I don't, you can tell me I'm a fraud. And so I'm like, okay, I hear this guy yelling. I'm like, okay, I'm game. I'm gullible. So I watched this magic act and it was the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like beats anything hands down I've ever watched on television. All that Chris Angel bullshit. No, I watched the guy literally from 5 feet away hide a watermelon that was like larger than his head under a top hat. I watched this guy like pull a baseball out of his ear, like a softball that was bigger than his hand out of his ear. And I'm close up. I'm standing 5 feet away from this dude, and there's 100 other people around me watching this guy. And I'm in the front row right up against him. And he's doing stuff like where he's taking things and putting them on the table that are like bigger than his hand and then slapping them. And they're going through the table, but the table's only this thick. And you can actually run your hand underneath the table and there's nothing there. It's just solid wood. And so every fiber of my being tells me, I finally found a wizard. Like, I want to believe. Like, I'm watching it. I'm like, I cannot explain what's happening, so I want to believe. What I am witnessing right now is a actual magician who that Merlin is alive and well, and he's getting dollars. He's getting paid.
Love it.
And the thing is, like, I know in my head, like, I know the scientific side of me tells me, of course, this is all illusion. And if I knew how it worked, it would make perfect sense. Granted, there'd be a lot of skill involved, but it makes sense to me, right? And but when you don't know that, like when you don't know that detail, it stays magical. But the second you know it, if I watched his act after knowing how it was done, I would never be like as excited.
I don't know, man. I even the tricks I know, like how they're done, right? Because like I've seen some magic stuff, and you can guess at some of the engineering that goes into it and stuff.
Sure.
It's still very fascinating to me. But I like the suspension of disbelief. I give myself over. This is why I like watching movies and stuff. Is like, and I'm so glad that I didn't do any sort of like film class or anything like that.
It ruins it.
And watching those corridor videos, it hasn't gotten to a point where it ruins things, but I notice some of that stuff more now.
100%.
And because I want to be. I want to be taken on the ride. I like a film. I like a story. I don't know. It taps into like the whole like around the campfire kind of thing. Like
totally. And you want to be fooled. Like you go into it wanting to be fooled. Like you tell yourself.
I want to be told the story. Like I watched this movie called I think it was just called The Fall or just Fall, about these two gals who like climb this giant fucking TV broadcast tower thing and like get stuck because it's like old and busted and the fucking ladder comes cranking off of it and stuff, and they're stuck up at the top of this thing.
Yep.
Super cheese, like Sharknado level, right? Well, not that bad actually, because it's by the same guys who did 47 meters down.
I don't think I've seen that one either.
It's some couple girls going scuba diving or something, get trapped in like their shark cage, and like their tour guide dips out on them or something. I don't know. It's that kind of cheesy storyline kind of deal. Like you go into this like, why didn't you tell anybody where you were going?
Right.
Why did you not say like, hey, if you don't hear from me in 24 hours, this is where I went, and come and fucking get me? Like it's that kind of stupid thing. But I watched the whole thing. I was in it. I was into it. I guessed the twist, before it, like that kind of stuff. But I was in it. I wanted to be told the story. I didn't care that it was silly. And it was a good waste of like an hour and 30 minutes or something.
Yeah. It's kind of like the psychic people. Like the read the magic ball and read your hands and do tarot cards and stuff. It's like it's all mumbo jumbo. It's all it's literally entertainment only. But if you're going to go into that, you have to be the type of person that has a mind that you believe it's real. Like you legitimately convince yourself it's real, and you're there and hand your money over. And there's a lot of people that do that. And it's kind of scary because, people, they take advantage of them. They're literally taking advantage of them as long as they don't take it too far. Like if it's entertainment value only and they go in and they're like, okay, I'm going to read your palm for $10 or whatever, and this is what I see. Okay, that's no problem. But it's when they pull them in and they start like cold reading them and then getting them to dump details about their dead relatives and then convincing them that their dead relatives can only speak through them and they need to come back and give them more money so that they can, buy a better crystal ball to keep talking to them. And it's like, how do people fall for this? It's like the scammer stuff. We always ask, how did grandma fall for the scammer? The scammer called and wanted her to drive to Walmart and get gift cards to pay off the IRS. Like this doesn't make sense to any person, but then you have to think about it. It's like, okay, well, your grandma in that moment was scared when she heard IRS. She was scared when she heard that she was in trouble. So everything else after that was just like, what do I have to do to get out of the situation? And she wasn't practically thinking anymore because she was focused on the fear or the fight or flight. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's the same thing that they get when they do like the cold reading things where they, have like 20 people come in the room and the guy stand up there's like, oh, I'm seeing a J. Somebody's coming through to me now from the afterlife and it's a J. And Joe, oh, hey, my dad's name's Jerry. Oh, Jerry? It's Jerry. Oh, I'm getting a Jerry. Yeah, he's standing right here next to me. And he said, oh, I love you, son. It's like, of course he'd say I love you, son. Yeah. Like the odds of him not. And then if he doesn't, he's like, oh, my dad used to beat me. Be like, oh, is there another Jerry in here? Oh, yeah, over there. Okay, there's good odds because there's 100 people in here. Oh, not a Jerry. A Gerald? Oh, no, that's what it was. I thought it was Jerry, but no, it was Gerald. Okay, Gerald, your dad said he loved you. Oh, no, my dad, he's real. They want to believe and they go in there and they are so desperate that they get taken advantage of in the moment. Now, that's a little different than what we're talking about because we want to be taken advantage. Like we're going in there knowing it's bullshit, but we want to live we want to feel what that magic effect. We want to be like,
part of the fun.
Exactly. But magic, like when I watch like Penn and Teller's Bullshit, I love that show, by the way.
Oh, that's so fun.
Bullshit. And what's the other one where they break the magic tricks? It's Penn and Teller, where they have the guy up on stage and he does a magic trick.
And then they try. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and they try and guess how they did it. Yeah,
it's a fantastic show. If you haven't seen it and you like magic, definitely watch it. But they get magicians that fool Penn and Teller.
Oh yeah,
pretty regularly.
That's great.
Penn and Teller been doing this their entire lives. They know all the gimmicks. They know all the tricks forward to backwards. Like these guys know just about everything there is to know about different types of magic, like card tricks and stuff. They do all kinds of, they have their own like thing that they do that nobody else does, but they can't figure out some of these tricks that these people are doing because they'll guess. They'll be like, okay, we know this technique, and they'll shake their head. They don't tell them exactly how it's done. They just tell them if it's true or not.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they probably have to reveal the trick to, or another magician on staff that knows the trick is probably the person backstage that's like confirming, like,
yeah, they got to have, right. Yeah, they got to have somebody who knows. Yeah.
Producer otherwise you just get up there in line and be like, oh, did you palm the card? No, I didn't.
Yeah, no, I did. Somebody else has got to know to be able to adjudicate. Yeah.
Right, but when they get fooled, they get so excited. Like you can tell they enjoy it more when they're fooled than when they're not. Because when they're fooled, they're like, "Holy shit, how do you do that?" And then they feel like they have to figure it out. And that's what I am too. Like when I watch magic, it's like when I'm blown away by it. Like one of my favorite types of magic is pickpocket. Like,
sure.
Pickpocket magic it blows my out. It just blows my mind. And if you've never seen it before, it's basically like imagine approaching a person by yourself, just you. A random person that you kind of case and keep an eye on at a party or something, walking up to them and literally getting their wallet, their wristwatch, their ring off their finger, their necklace, and like cell phone, all over the course of about 5 minutes through random interactions with this individual. and having the individual like completely like unaware. They don't even know their ring's missing. They don't even realize their watch is missing until the guy walks up to him and hands them their shit back. They're like, whoa. And first you'd be like, oh, that's fake. That's so staged. No, it actually isn't. Because even when I was a kid, I went to a magic show where my dad got picked at random out of the audience and went up there. And the guy actually got my dad's wallet away from him, and he got my dad's watch away from him.
Wow.
And I was like blown away. And my dad, my dad was like freaking out. He's like, oh my God, that guy's a wizard. I didn't even notice. so the fact that he picked my dad, I know it wasn't a plant, right? Because it's my dad and he would never do anything like that. That wasn't in his character.
Yeah.
So it's like it can be done. And then once you see how it's done, because a lot of them will show you the techniques. Like if you watch on YouTube, there's tons of videos showing you the techniques of how they do this. It's one of those magics where, and I call it magic because it just blows people away that this can be done without
magic. It's magic.
You watch them do it and they tell you what to look for as they're doing it, and you're watching them do it. Everything they do makes like perfect sense as to why the user doesn't know that their shit's missing.
Yeah.
And how they do it, there's so much misdirection involved, and eye contact and mannerisms and micro expressions. It's a whole package deal that you put together to basically just draw the attention of the brain away from anything you're trying to steal.
Yep.
And it's like when you watch this shit go down and how fast it goes down, you're just like, oh my God, dude, like you're almost afraid to go into public anymore.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, like because you wouldn't think so. Like he showed Apple Watches are like one of the easiest things to steal.
Sure.
Because what you do is you walk up to somebody, and if you bump into them, what you do is you grab one of the things you grab their hand, like you normally would, like if you bump into someone, grab their hand and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, you tap the top of their hand, like you grab their hand, you tap. And the reason you're doing that is you're trying to be tactile. You're trying to have them feel your hand while you're engaging them, and then they get caught out a little bit.
Yeah.
So now they're a little nervous because they're like, oh, the stranger bumped into me, and now he's like apologizing to me profusely. And they're like, oh, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And then he'll like reach and shake your hand. And when he's shaking your hand, he's moving his two fingers like back here, and he's like flipping his finger up and around the watch as he's shaking your hand, and then he puts his hand on your other shoulder. So as he's squaring off with you and he's shaking your hand, he puts his hand on the shoulder, you know, they do the shake. He goes, oh, then puts his hand on the shoulder, and he taps his shoulder, and tapping his shoulder pulls the attention away from the hand while he's undoing the band with his fingers. Yep. And then now the watch is sitting there with the band loose, just resting on the guy's hand. So then what he does is he basically just like goes like this, like shaking the guy's hand. He lets go of his hand, and then the guy goes to put his hand down at his waist. Like when he's done, he puts his hands down, and when he puts his hands down, the watch slides out, and he uses his other hand to grab it as it's falling off of his hand. And you're like, how did he not feel that? Like how did he not feel that? And the reason he didn't feel that is because he's making uncomfortable eye contact with the guy and apologizing profusely, which is making the guy uncomfortable. When he's uncomfortable, he's more focused on, I need to keep my attention on this guy, not what's on my hand, not what's in my pocket. I need to keep my attention on this guy because he's acting really weird. And so it breaks your attention and you don't feel it somewhere else. It's so weird because when you watch it, you're like, oh, that could never happen to me. But no, it could easily happen to you.
Nope.
You still there, Ox?
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you're still there. Yeah, no, it's wild stuff. Like that's one of my favorite types of magic to watch. But but the stuff that blows me away is like when I saw that guy up close, it was the first time I've ever seen a magic, like a true like professional up close. I've always watched it on TV. I've always watched it like, you know, when it's up on a stage and you're sitting down in chairs. I've never watched one where I'm standing 5 feet away from the dude watching everything he's doing. And there's like 100 other people around us. And the only rule was when you're watching a show is he backs up against a wall so you can't get behind him. But you can be everywhere out in front of him. So obviously, you know, he's doing that for a reason because obviously he's using the space behind him in some meaningful way. And but he gets everybody lined up to where at the end, nobody can explain how it happened. Nobody saw anything. Nobody saw any like wires or gimmicks or any tricks. And the weird thing that blew me away even to this day, and I tell my wife this every time, is he had a watermelon, a grapefruit, and a couple of apples. And when he walked up to set up his table, he had no backpack, nothing. He was just wearing a fancy magician suit, and he had a flat pack table. And you're like, where the hell did the watermelon, the grapefruit, and those apples come from? And at the end of his act, he takes the watermelon and puts it on his head and puts his hat over it. And the watermelon is wider than the hat. And when he pushes it down, the watermelon disappears under his hat. He lifts up the hat. There's no watermelon. He like shakes it and everything. It's like, even if it fell down his back, it'd have to catch on something, it'd have to hit the ground to jerk him or something. You could not tell what was going on. And I was like, this dude's a wizard. This guy is straight up Hogwarts right here. It was a mind-blowing experience. We'll put it this way. I tipped him $20. Like, just man. Watching that show, I pulled out a 20 and just handed it to him because I was like, dude, that's the most amazing thing I've ever witnessed. And he's like, thanks. I was like, dude, why aren't you? I asked him when he was sitting there. I'm like, dude, why aren't you on stage? Like, why are you here on the strip doing this and not like working in the hotels or whatever? And he's like, been there, done that. And then he just walked away. And I was like, okay, I've never heard of this guy before. I've never seen this guy, but apparently he has done some stuff before. Maybe he's just played out. Maybe he's one of those magicians where it's like now everybody, in the magic community knows his tricks or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of weird to see that. It's like this dude has a skill that if he was on like America's Got Talent, he'd win hands down. Like there's no way this guy could lose a competition like that. It'd be impossible. Yeah. And I just watched this guy do it close up. So I know it's not gimmicks. I know it's not clever video editing. And I watched this and I'm like, but the thing is not everybody gets their shot, right? It's like, I'm sure that guy's applied to go do all that stuff. And he's probably just ignored because of the sheer volume of people applying.
Right.
And it just sucks. And that goes to the thing. It's like a lot of luck is involved, right? It's like, why did I have a YouTube channel that blew up back in the day, right? There's plenty of other people on earth that had crazier computer systems than me and more 3D printers than me and stuff. It just at the time they either didn't have a YouTube channel or the right person didn't see their YouTube content. If they were publishing it, maybe they didn't use good titles or good tags or whatever. But it's like the little things, even though the content is better, not enough people found it. And it just goes, like Simone Yutz. That's another good example, right?
Yeah,
she made the Queen of Shitty Robots, right? She made that amazing bot that, like, she's like her bot that like pours the cereal, pours the milk, gets it all over the table or whatever. And it's so funny. And the video, when I found it, was out for like 3 months, and it had like 1,000 views after like 3 months. And I reached out to her. We talked on Skype for about like 3 hours. I told her every single thing I knew about YouTube at the time when I was like, and she ran with it. And now she's like over 1 million subscribers, shitloads of views. She still only makes like one video a month now because of her health. But she's just so fucking good at it. And it just blew my mind that, she didn't get noticed earlier. And it's just crazy that somebody can just float through like that. And it's like make the best. There could be videos on YouTube right now that if you watched, you'd be like, this is the best content creator I've ever seen in my life. And every video they have has like 50 views. If that. I found one the other night. I found there was a guy who works on cars and he like builds motors. It's like his job, his day job. He builds motors and he has like totally professional editing. He has to be paying a dude to do this. It's like just like you're watching a TV show, like with like, and I'm working on the motor and it'll do like the picture of like the fuel pump with the camera down below. It's all professional audio. He has music playing in the background and the tone changed and everything. I was like, this is a professional production. I'm like, what? Why isn't this a TV show? His thumbnails are perfect. His titles are perfect. His top viewed video is 353 views after 6 months.
Jeez.
And he releases a video like every 2 or 3 days. I subbed him. I'll figure out what the name of the channel is because I subbed him yesterday. But I just couldn't believe that there's a guy that's like that committed making content every day for just a couple of hundred people, and he's putting that level of effort into it. It's like if like Car and Motor Magazine like found this guy, or some car community found this guy and elevated him, and you had somebody like Jimmy Broadbent or Daily Driven Exotics or one of those guys elevate him, he just to the moon. But the problem is a lot of them won't anymore because they don't want to elevate somebody else who they would eventually see as competition and compete for the same viewers. So they don't get that chance. They don't get escalated. So, and I've noticed that too. I don't know if you've noticed, it might be in my head, but I feel like less people share other people's videos these days. Like, I feel like I see, because a lot more people are creating their own content and stuff like that.
I suppose.
It used to be that, like, when you scrolled through Twitter, it'd be like, everybody retweet this video, retweet this video, retweet this video. And now it's like you post a new video and it hardly gets any retweets unless it's like, it's from a huge content creator like Mr. Beast or something like that. Yeah. I just used to see people would, even if they were content creators themselves, they'd share other people's videos. That's like a rarity now. I don't see that. Like, when even the tech tubers, it's like you rarely see like Linus link a Steve video or Steve link a Linus video or Jay link a Linus video or Linus link a Jay video. When back in the day, that was like really common. So. And I just feel like they're all competing for the same audience. And now they're like gloves off and they're like, all right, well,
it's weird though. Cause like,
it is weird.
It'd only help everybody, really. I don't know.
That's
but yeah, it makes sense. Or at least the explanation makes sense that like, but I don't know, man. That's weird. That's a weird.
It's something I've noticed. I've noticed it also on Twitch, where there's a lot of people that aren't raiding anymore. Like they used to raid like every time when they ended their live stream, but they stopped raiding. And
that kind of got abused though, like hate raids and stuff. Like I feel like people just don't do it as it's now almost like a taboo, or it's like it can be seen as like inappropriate, I guess.
Yeah, there's some people that really don't like it. There's some people that just straight up disable it. I know Jay disables it on his Twitch channel because everybody's like, raid Jay. And I'm like, I couldn't if I wanted to. He disables that. He hates it when he gets raided. But I think the thing that some people are afraid of, and I've watched this happen in the maker community, like this is something that's been kind of plaguing the maker community for a while, is that you have multiple people trying to create like the next 3D printing fad, right? Like everybody's trying to notch themselves out something that's unique. And what'll happen is like one person will do something, and then they'll find out later that another person was already doing something like that. And they're both doing the same thing essentially on the same platform, but their personalities are still different. Their audiences are still different. But instead of like working together to be like, all right, well, let's build the community. Let's bring everything together. They're basically just like kind of like went from being and these are people that are friends too. And now they kind of like badmouth each other and, don't talk about each other publicly anymore and stuff like that. And it's all just because they feel like the other person is competition and slowing down their progress. Because they're like, oh, their viewers should be our viewers because we're doing this. And another person, oh, they just copied us doing that thing. And it's like, but you copied somebody too. It's like, that's the thing is like, you have all these people that'll create it. They'll create something and it's literally a copy of something that's already been done before. But then they get mad when somebody copies that. And I'm of the mind that like nothing is sacred. Like as far as if you want to take my fucking YouTube video and like verbatim make the same video, but it's you and your shit in your room, go for it. Like, go for it. It's more content for everybody. Like, there's a chance that somebody finds your video that would never find mine, so they'd still get that information. So I don't have a problem with that. I mean, as long as you're not uploading my video, like copying my video and uploading it, that I'm completely against. But ideas, like, no. If I design something or create something, if you want to go and make your own, or you want to, or it inspires you to do something that's a little bit different, or whatever, go for it. Like I don't feel like I don't have the same feeling that some people do where it's like, oh my God, they did the same thing as me. They're stealing my audience, or I did that first, blah, blah, blah.
No, that's dumb. It's not a zero-sum game.
I agree.
Like, yes, I feel like we've talked about this before. Like, yes, there are only a finite number of eyeballs, but like, not really. I mean, in a gigantic sense, yes, there's only so many people that out there. Like if I'm live streaming at the same time as somebody else, the audience has to make a choice. But there are like just the sheer number of available eyeballs is so enormous that like as to be infinite. Like it isn't stealing. Even right now, there's a choice being made for 200 something people. Yeah, 200 something people. They could be watching somebody on Twitch right now. They could be watching football or whatever. I don't know. They could be doing 100 million other things. And like they're
here.
One, they're here, but also like it's like it isn't the sole thing that you're doing, right? You can do more than the one thing at a time. So like I'll play video games and watch TV, or I'll be listening to music while I read, or you know what I mean? And so like to think of such a minimizing mindset, or even sorry, I got to chew gum or I like clench my teeth a little bit.
Uh-oh.
So as I'm talking this I'm just going to spit out. It's just it's I don't know, man. It's no different than like I want to build PCs, right? I even made a company to do so. Like
100%,
official paperwork. There's another company, another small company, Seattle built PCs. I follow them on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, and I've chatted with who I assume is the big boss. I think actually runs their social, and I don't feel like, for one, I'm not putting in the same amount of effort that they are, obviously, but I also don't feel threatened by them. Like, even if we were doing the exact same things and they were more successful, however I define that, I wouldn't. I mean, there's a little jealousy, of course. You know, oh man, I want to do that too. But I'm not coming from an angle of like, oh, you're taking from me. There's gobs of opportunity. There's opportunity for everyone.
There's always opportunity. Yep.
And it comes. I feel like we've talked about this a lot, or at least I have. It comes from a matter of expectation, right? Disappointment or expectation is the core of all disappointment. So you have to set your expectation appropriately to like where you're at, you know. and then you won't be disappointed. Like, I'm not disappointed. I mean, I'm a little disappointed in myself for not putting more effort into trying to build PCs and sell them and all that stuff. But it's not his fault. It's not Seattle Built Computers' fault. It's me. Right. It's my fault. He's not taking customers from me. We're selling different products completely to different people. But even if we were, and because there's gobs of them out there, there's bunches of fucking small time builders out there basically all doing the same thing. But you can totally tell that like the dozen of them are all doing well enough to fill the definition of their success. Like, I'm not trying to be Dell.
Like, right? The costs could be higher too, right? Like, they might have to make more PCs to recoup their money because they have employees or they have better production or somebody using a camera. It's like, if you're a one-man band, you don't have to move that much. You don't have to sell as much, right? So right. You don't have to, it's not a one-to-one competition with them. Right. Like, even my 9 to 5, I'm not even competing directly with them. I'm not trying to be them. I'm not trying to. I have my vision in my head of what I want to create, and I have an idea of what success is going to be when I hit that. And I also have the enough mindset. Like, there's a point that I want to get to, and that's going to be enough for me. You know, I don't. And I imagine even for the boss of the company I work for, that he probably had that vision at one point, and it just kept going. Like, I would be surprised to think that John had in his mind to be at the level that Puget Systems is at right now. Not at the beginning. It just was like, it's almost like falling forward. If you lean forward far enough, you have to take a step forward or you're going to fall on your face. And it's just that's how these things grow. It's like, you just keep leaning forward until you fall on your face. Well, fall on your face is just part of it, right? I mean, that's how you learn.
I don't know if we should say this public, but I want your opinion on how do you feel about people self-promoting in the chat?
Like, I don't allow it over on Twitch.
I'm live. I'm live. Come over and
that's a ban. That's
a ban. And before I didn't want to be a super butthead, but this is like the second or third time I've seen a line like this from this person. Wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool to promote your live during my live? But otherwise, it's cool. And I muted a previous comment. But
that's
see, like, you can always share what's happening with you on my channel. You are welcome. So I had muted a previous or deleted one of them. So I wanted to mention it in a kind way before completely banning this person from the chat, because perhaps they didn't know. I want to approach this from a assume benign intent. But yeah, generally promoting your own channel during someone else's live stream is a taboo. So Omnivox.
Wait, was he saying he's like streaming right now, or?
I don't know that they're live right now, right. But it's
like, if you're streaming at the same time and you're in there like, hey, come over and see my stream. But here's the thing: you shouldn't promote your stream in the chat of anybody else's stream, because it's
a bit of a faux pas. Yeah,
it's just considered disrespect to the community. And the other thing is, like, the only people that are going into channels and saying, oh, hey, you should promote me and I'll promote you. I guarantee I click on your channel and I have a way bigger following than you, because you're not going to people that are your size and saying, hey, let's collaborate, let's build each other, which would be the right move. You're going and saying, let's do something that benefits me 99% and you 1%.
I wish I could click on the name in chat and go to their channel like you can in Twitch.
I don't think let you do that, honestly.
So, like, I'm probably going to try and punch this name into the YouTube search bar, and it's not going to fucking come up, because I've tried this stuff before to try and find people. And
you can actually wait a second. No, there's a thing you can click on and say go to channel. Hold on, let me try this. Go to channel.
Okay, you can.
No, I got a link. I got a link.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, it is there. Okay.
So he has 123 subscribers and 44 views. Now, not that should matter. I'm not saying that should matter, but I'm just saying it's a little weird. Oh, what are you saying?
It's just a faux pas. It's just a faux pas. Like, we're not. I don't want to come at this as like, oh, we're shitting on you, or oh, go poop on this guy. Like, this is more of a lesson learned sort of thing.
No, fair enough. I don't think he meant any harm. I think he's just trying to grow his channel, and I respect that. But you need to do it through the proper channels. And the wrong way to do it is to go to somebody else's channel and say, hey, come over and watch my stuff.
Yeah.
No, that's just a big no.
That's all.
You shouldn't even do it. You shouldn't even do it in your videos either. That's like the thing is like you shouldn't go to somebody and say, hey, put in your video this or do this, because here's the thing. Your channel is you're just starting out, right? You should go find other people that are just starting out, talk to them on forums, message them at their business email address, and be like, hey, I got a proposal. Like, would you
love to play Fall Guys with you?
Yeah, let's do that. You want to do a gaming live stream or something? That makes sense, but it doesn't make sense to like go to a channel that has like almost 1 million followers and hundreds of people watching live and be like, hey, how about you promote my stream during your live stream where I basically tell my huge audience to go to your channel and then you tell one of your 123 people to come over to mine? It's like that's not mutually beneficial. It's not mutually beneficial. So that's where I'm like, it's one of those things where it's like now it's the etiquette. It's like, yeah, is it really just like a faux pas like you didn't know, or there's a reason he's reaching out to larger streamers and being like, oh, hey, we can both scratch each other's back. That doesn't work.
I'm willing to be graceful here and just say, and there's your 15 minutes of fame. We've shouted out the channel and all that stuff.
That is true. He definitely got
no such thing as bad press. So, but yeah, just generally it's a faux pas to do that.
Yeah, and plus, even bad publicity.
Other folk would be a lot. And had you caught me on a different day, I'm spicy sometimes.
I get spicy myself.
So just word from the wise there. Maybe don't do that. Maybe don't do that. So that's all.
The ones I really hate are the ones that pop into your channel and they're like, oh man, I love you. Hey, they tag you, use channel points. Oh man, I love your channel so much, man. Hey, I started live streaming too. Come over and watch me here at this URL. And it's like, dude, you're coming into my channel, my stream, and the first thing you do, like the very first chat you've ever done on my channel is like, come over to my channel and watch me. And it's like, that's a big no. That's like, come on. And people should know that. That's where it's one of those things where I don't think it's just an accident or a misstep. It's like, you know what you're doing.
Don't correct my turns of phrase, word to the wise, word from the wise. I know what the turn of phrase is. I changed it on purpose because Jerry and I are the wise ones here.
Yes. This is we are the alpha and the omega.
All right, here. Goodbye.
Yeah, just you can nuke him.
And not for the correcting my turn of phrase, but didn't you just continue to say, yes, it would be rude to just promote your live in someone else's live? Yes.
So, yeah, no, he and I had a feeling he was going to get cocky like that. But here's the thing. Fine. Every time that happens, I've never once had that happen where I click on a channel and it's anywhere close to the same size or larger than my channel. Everybody is always punching up. And it's like, dude, you can't. Return on investment. I'm going to give you guys just a little spiel on if you're going to become a content creator, you need to understand this. Something called ROI, return on investment. When you work with a company and they pay you a fixed amount of money or whatever to advertise their product, that fixed amount of money that they pay you has to be infinitely less than what they make by you advertising their product.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it makes no sense to market. Why would they have you market something if they didn't make any more money, right? They have to make more money. So it's the same type of thing where it's the same thing if you're a channel and you want to collaborate with another channel. If you guys have a project that it makes sense, like for instance, let's say you're a small channel, but you have like some technology or you created something that's incredibly interesting, then a big channel might see value in that and be like, you know what? The value isn't necessarily and getting your audience, because your audience is so small, or being exposed to your audience. The value is you being able to show off what you did to my audience so you can see the new technology, and in return they're happy because now I know more than I did in the first place. Like there's some mutually beneficial thing there. It's not mutually beneficial when you're a channel that has like 100 followers to say, hey, Mr. Beast, can we do a collaborate and play Minecraft together? It'd be mutually beneficial for us. Like, yeah, I can see this really helping us both out. And it's like, but it doesn't. It wouldn't, because Mr. Beast would honestly only shoot himself in the foot, because even if 1% of his audience decided to watch your live stream while he was live streaming instead, he would be losing probably tens of thousands of dollars in revenue to the smaller creators. So it's a little bit different in that case. You have to look at ROI. There has to be a mutual benefit. And in that case, there wasn't a mutual benefit. So that doesn't make sense. Just like even right now, it's like even people that I used to collaborate with, I wouldn't go to them today and be like, hey, when I haven't made a video in like 2-3 years, and be like, hey man, yeah, let's collaborate. Hey, I can help you build your channel. When my last video got like 1,000 views, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense for them to promote me when I can give them no value in return. Like there's got to be like something that's mutually beneficial. And even for like gaming and stuff like that, like if it's just something that's for fun, like you're just gaming and you're live streaming, and both of you are live streaming, you both gaming together, that makes sense. Like that actually, there's no big deal there, because like you're having fun, you're both streaming, people can watch whoever they enjoy the player the most, right? That's playing. But when you're talking about you're just starting out and you're just building a little channel, try not to go out to like all the huge channels and be like, oh man, I can help you out. Like, dude, I got a deal for you. And because it's like, no, that's not how it works. People know that's not how it works. They didn't get to 1 million subs because they thought, oh my God, this is a great deal to give my audience to every small content creator. Because think about it, if I did this, let's just hypothetical, right? Hypothetical. Let's say I have a huge channel and I built it and I collaborated with people that were close to my size and we grew up together and that's kind of how I came up, right? It's like me and the other tech tubers, we all kind of merged together and started working together and we all came up as a community together. And it worked because we were all kind of small and around relative the same size and we were just kind of growing, doing things. We always had something to offer the other person. There was always something of interest going on that helped out everybody. Yeah. But if you're a tiny channel that's just starting out and you're like, Mr. Beast, can you promote me? Hey, Linus Tech Tips, can you promote me? Hey, and I'll promote you too. We'll promote each other. It'll be a beneficiary thing. Well, if
like your audience hasn't already heard of them,
like 1 million of his subs could come over to you, and that'd be great for you. You'd be like, oh my God, my channel popped off, and now I'm rich. But to Linus, now that's like I just promoted somebody that now took those views away from me when they're watching their content at the same time that I release, and I got no new people to come watch my content. So it just in that point, it's not mutually beneficial at all. Yeah. And I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm saying like if you like somebody or you really like what I say, if there's something unique that they're doing that warrants it, like I see people all the time, big creators boosting small creators because what they did is something unique, right? And that's great. That's the right reason to do it. But it's not good to just go promote like another channel that's just trying to become big. It's trying to be a channel for the right of being a channel. It's starting out super small. It's like, come on, big guys, we can scratch each other's back. It just doesn't work. It'd be like the manufacturers that make a product contacting me and being like, hey, we're gonna sell you the product for $3 off retail if you make a full video reviewing it positively and give us a 5-star rating on Amazon. It's like, yeah, I could buy the product a little bit cheaper, but what did I get out of the deal other than losing $3 and having to waste hours and hours and hours of time making a video and saying things I didn't believe to meet the contract? It wouldn't make sense. You wouldn't go for that deal, right? It's like it's just not worth it. So it's not a matter of being like hoity-toity or too snooty or I'm too big to like work with the little guy. I've worked with plenty of little guys. It just is a bad faux pas. Now, if you had worded it differently, like honestly, if you had to just come in here and said, like, hey, I'm trying to create content myself or whatever, I'd be like, hey, oh, cool, that's awesome. And he's like, hey, I got started creating content because of you or because of somebody else. That's cool. Where it took a wrong turn is where he implies that he can give me the same amount of value that I can give him. Yeah, and that's simply not true. Like from looking at it from any possible angle. He came in here and he knew that what he was saying is basically, I have a YouTube channel that I just started that has no viewership. It has like 50 views per video. I have 100 and some followers. By me showing you to my audience, you're going to get the same value as me telling 946,000 people or whatever who you are. Yeah, it's just not there. Yeah. It's just not there. So from a business perspective, no. Now, if you know the person, that's different, right? Like if you got friends and stuff and you want to help them build their business stuff, that makes sense. But I'm just saying, in general, don't just approach big YouTubers that don't know who you are or whatever and try to act like you're going to give them the same value if it's punch for punch or tit for tat. It's not. Yeah, it's dependent on your size, and you have to. But go find people your size. That's the thing. Like when you start, go find some other people that have channels that make similar content to you, or content that's compatible with your content. Go reach out to them on their business email and stuff, and be like, hey, listen, I'm starting a channel too. I'm doing this. Here's maybe an idea. Here's something we could try. Would you be interested? There is no problem in that. Even if you sent me an email, I wouldn't have been mad. Like if it was just an email that was like, hey, I have an idea for like a cool project you probably haven't thought of that I'd love to do. Are you in? Then I might look at that and go, hey, okay, maybe I'll consider that if it's something that I'm interested in, I'm working on. The only thing that I'm complaining about here is the whole idea of going into somebody's channel and basically implying that you're going to give them the same value as they give you if you promote their stuff. If they both promote, it's not the same. It's like, the guy that's in a stadium, like, hey, the guy in the stadium, can you shout out to all 65,000 people what my YouTube channel is? And then he's like, okay, he goes out on the city block and like 2 people are walking by and he's like, hey, have you ever heard of that Barnacules channel? And they both shrug their shoulders and like, what the fuck are you talking about? They just walk off. It's like, which channel do you think most of the views are going to go to? Right. It's not going to be mutual. It's not going to be equal in any way, shape, or form. So that's all I'm saying about that. But yeah, in general, TLDR, don't advertise your streams in other people's streams. That's bad. You shouldn't even advertise your streams in other people's comments on their videos. The place to advertise your stream is on your own social media. That's where you do it. Yep. So that's where I think it's a good one.
And that's all I have to say on that.
Mm-hmm. It just drives me nuts, dude. I deal with that shit all the time. And it was just time to say something about it.
It's okay. Like I said, man, you caught me on a different day, I'd have had a same rant.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I'm not mad. I just don't want him to do it again. Yeah, because he's gonna burn every bridge if he keeps doing that. So I'm hoping that what?
I don't know. I'm just backing you up. Dag nabbit. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm doing the old people thing.
Yeah.
Hey, Tactical Porn Smurf, thank you for the $5.50 super chat, man. I appreciate it. He said, enjoy UK of the money as my exchange rate is pants.
Oh, hey man, it's all good.
We appreciate it, man. We appreciate. God, man, I feel bad for like Europe right now and the whole oil
Bruh,
shit. That's
send
scary.
me some Kinder eggs, bruh. That's what you need to do.
Are Kinder eggs still illegal in the United States?
The proper ones with the
toy inside,
with the thing in it. Yeah. Nowadays, it's like here at least it's like two things. Like it's still kind of an egg shape, but it's not the chocolate. And you peel open one thing and it's got the toy in it, and then the candy's like in the other side. I want the old school Kinder eggs, which has got the plastic pill thing inside the chocolate egg.
So we get those every time we go to Canada and we bring them back in the United States. Are we committing a felony?
I mean, it's technically smuggling, I think.
Because I'm bringing in something that's contraband in the United States, right? Because a Kinder egg is illegal to have. Is it illegal to sell, but you can have it? Or is it illegal to even have?
Actually, possession is probably not a bad thing.
Possession of Kinder egg.
I don't think possession is. If you had like a shit ton of them, like it's like a quantity sort of thing, I bet. Like having, a joint in your pocket in a place where weed's illegal, that's probably not going to get you in any trouble, really. But if you're carrying like a pound, now they assume it's intent to distribute, right? So if you're carrying like 5 cases of Kinder eggs, they're probably going to get you in trouble for smuggling. But if you're just bringing in like enough that they could assume like this personal use, they're probably not going to get you. Like technically yes, but they're not going to bother, right?
Yeah. So here's what I got. Why are
Kinder eggs get confiscated immediately? People have been fined at borders. Shit.
Yeah, it says right here, Kinder Surprise eggs are straight up banned in the United States. It's illegal to import them there too. So it's not just illegal, it's also illegal to import. This is because of a regulation set out by the Food and Drug Administration, which given its power by the U.S. federal government Drug and Cosmetics Act of 1938. And then there was another thing that said that the ban specifically says any confectionery that contains within a non-nutritive advice.
Yeah,
our object, so that's weird. Okay, so something that's inedible, right? I guess is that their fancy way of saying inedible.
Something that has no nutrient
inedible value. But here's the thing: like Goldschlager has like chunks of gold in it. Well, I guess that's still considered edible, even though it's you can eat gold.
Yeah, and there's nutritive value in gold and silver.
Okay, that I guess that kind of makes sense. But God, it's just so weird, man. Laws are weird. It's so weird that like in our country, it's like, okay, man, do you got any do you got any weed on you or whatever? And it's like, oh, that's legal in Washington. No, that's fine. Oh, you got a Kinder egg? Get him, kick him down, but tase him. Oh man, I found 5 Kinder eggs. He was distributing, and the people come in and like their DEA comes and talks to you.
I know for a while they kind of got around that by having like an edge on the capsule that poked out from the chocolate shell. Basically wasn't complete. It you could see like the yellow. It was like flush with the outside edge of the chocolate shell. So like you were basically peeling 2 chocolate bits off of a larger. So like it wasn't inside the chocolate shell, right? It just was like coated kind of. Because I remember there was a little bodega near where I was at in the U district that sold those, but those seem to have disappeared too. That's crazy though that they're that hardcore about it. They're like, dude. I would think because like I've had friends and stuff go to Canada and bring back like the Lay's potato chips and all the different flavors and stuff, and like that's fine. But so like you would think that the fucking Border Patrol is not going to get that fucking bent out of shape of you taking like a half dozen Kinder eggs with you. Like I'm eating whatever.
Dude, federal agencies are so hit and miss with their application of law. It's like it's really difficult to even comply because you could fully think you're in compliance. Like you could follow the letter of the law and your local chapter of, whoever the DEA or FBI or whatever federal agents are in your state that decide to pursue you or look up on you, they can decide to reinterpret that law however they want because that's like their job, right? They can go through and say, like a good example of this is I had a friend who had was it a shotgun? I think it was a shotgun that he had that had a full length barrel on it, and it had a stock. And what he did with the stock was he replaced the stock, which was like this plastic stock, with a stock that had a strap for his arm. So it basically was still a stock. It was similar length, and it went up against your shoulder, but it had a place where you could slide your arm in between the stock and you could put a strap around your arm, and it's a bracing device for basically somebody who's handicapped and doesn't have a lot of control. They want to brace it to their arm, right?
Sure.
And honestly, in any practical situation where you're trying to use it as a weapon, it would actually hinder you. That's why nobody ever uses them, because it's like it's strapped onto your arm and pointed straight. You can't bend, you can't maneuver it. It's like it's in line with your arm, like a bowling glove kind of thing. And he put that on it, and it had the strap on it, but it was also it still had a full rest on the back of it, like where it came together, so you could pull it into your shoulder. And somehow that violated some law. The gun got confiscated from him. He got a big fine. Luckily, he didn't have to do any jail time. They just fined him. And I think he still got to keep his permit, but it was a legal nightmare for him anyways. And it was all because he posted a picture on like Facebook on his like private profile of his shotgun, of him taking the stock off and putting this thing on. The gun was still the same overall length. The strap he literally had a legitimate reason to have the strap, because he basically had a weak arm or weak wrist, and he wanted like the weight braced on the gun on his arm so it wasn't pulling down on him so hard. And to absorb some of the recoil. And he was like really happy that product came out, and he put it on there, and it was like cool for like a long time. But apparently they changed the law. He posted a picture and they're like, nope, you can't have that. And I was like, seriously, a shotgun? It's like, I can go buy, the AR, the dreaded AR, right? I can go buy that, and with like 30 round magazines, everything. You're gonna tell me a shotgun that holds like 6 shells? Like I think it was even pump action. It wasn't even like semi-automatic or anything. Just because that now you put something on the butt strap that can tie to your arm. Now that makes it like a super like even more deadlier weapon.
Oh yeah.
I was just like thinking to myself, I'm like, man. But again, it's interpretation of the law. It's like they should take intent into consideration. Yeah. Like if they're looking at something and go, okay, well that's obviously because the guy's handicapped and he like needs it for some reason, or it makes it safer for him. Like that should be a consideration that's in play. And even if it's still illegal and you have to take it away, just let them know that, okay, even though there's a practical reason for you to have this, it's illegal, you can't have, but don't fine him and make it seem like he's a damn criminal and turn him into like he's got like a federal record. It's like, oh, I'm a felon because I owned a shotgun that had a different shoulder stock.
That's weird.
Yeah, so it's like, be careful if you own any guns, depending on what state you're in, be careful modifying them, because even little modifications can like instantly turn it illegal without you even like realizing. Like a little 22 I have a little 22 that has a barrel shroud on it that makes the barrel over 14 inches. But if you take it off, it makes the barrel under 13 inches because it's like a portion of the barrel. It literally screws on. It's like the second half of the barrel is this thing.
Sure.
And if you unscrew it, then it's called an SBR, a short barreled rifle, which is illegal if you don't have a special license. But as long as the barrel is on it, then it's perfectly legal. Now they're banned for import because of this reason. But if you already have one, they're grandfathered in. But you can just never take the barrel off. If I'm anywhere and I unscrew that barrel, even if I'm not shooting the gun, if I'm in a range and I unscrew that barrel and pull it off, immediately they can come over. They can call the cops and they can come and arrest me for being in possession of a short barrel rifle, even though it's just screwed on. But if I unscrew it off on the table, then I'm against the law. So I can't break the gun down to even like clean that portion of the barrel unless I'm at home. Mm-hmm. Because then I'd be violating the rule, right? If I wanted to clean around inside of it. So it's just stupid laws like that where it's like, okay, so adding this thing on the end of the gun, all it does is make it quieter. Aren't you guys against like silencing weapons? Like it's way louder when you take it off, and it's not as accurate when you take it off. So it's actually, a less precise weapon. If you do, it's just bizarre how the law works, dude. Like when I saw that and I was like, oh man, so I unscrew that. And then the other thing is like an AR-15 to take the barrel off. It's literally just a snap ring that like comes and you rotate it and it comes off. It's just screwed on.
Weird.
It's like with like no tools. You can just be like and take the barrel off of it. It's like, okay, now is it like is it a pistol now because the bullet's just sticking out like this with no barrel? like is this now is this for taking down helicopters? Like it's just weird, man. Yeah. Our laws, especially here in Washington, they're a little weird. They're not as bad as they are in a lot of places, though. At least here, they're somewhat chill. Like for most stuff that you have, but there are some states where it's like they're so freaking hardcore that like tiny little things that you would think wouldn't make a bit of difference, not a lick of difference, can make all the difference in the world. Yeah. Like, did you see the thing with the was it the bump stocks? You saw the bump stock thing, right? Where they outlawed those?
Yeah, those all kind of talk about that. Like, what is that freaking is that? I've heard that a lot, and I'm like, what the fuck even is that?
Dude, it's literally something you can 3D print. All it is it's a piece of plastic, it's a shoulder brace, like just so you'd have like a shoulder stock that you pull in like a shotgun, but it has the handle integrated into it. And then what it does is it puts a little block of plastic that covers the trigger so that you curl your finger around it. And then when you pull the gun away from your shoulder, so you pull forward with your other arm, and it pulls that little shroud back and activates the trigger. And then when it fires, the recoil of it going back pulls your finger off the trigger, but then the tension of you pulling it back at you activates the trigger again. So it's basically you're pulling the gun into you to make it cycle. It's two pieces of plastic sliding against each other. It's like the simplest device ever. They were legal for a long time. Bunches of people bought them, then they outlawed them, and everybody had to get rid of them because it's like, and you didn't get a refund. Like it was like if you bought one of these things for a couple of $100 or whatever, you had to just throw it away. You're not even allowed to be in possession of it.
Okay, I see how this works.
But the funny thing about it is you don't even need that to bump fire a weapon. But people bump fire weapons all the time. It's like all you have to do to bump fire a weapon is just have really good trigger discipline where you put your finger in, you hold it really stiff, and you just pull the gun into it lightly.
Yeah, that's strange. Like,
and so I thought that was stupid. So now they have something that they're trying to.
Like it makes it easier.
Yeah, no, it does. It definitely does make it easier, and so I could totally see like their point as far as like. But you can't. The aim sucks. You can't aim with this thing. It's not like you pulled in your shoulder and you keep it stable. It's like it's literally out in front of you, bouncing around. Like you're not going to be on target. And then there's the new one that they're now. I think they might have already outlawed it. Can you guys let me know in chat if you know? Binary triggers. So a binary trigger is actually like kind of scary. Well, you pull the trigger and it fires around, and then when you release it, it fires around. So you're getting 2 rounds per trigger pull. And so technically it's not considered fully automatic because the law says every time that you release the trigger, it can fire around. And technically when you're pulling back and firing and releasing and firing, you're still within the law. So, but it allows you to fire at an incredibly rate of fire because as fast as you can pull your finger, you're firing 2 rounds each time you do it.
Right.
So it's like bam, 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 and it sounds like a damn machine gun. And I think that you could buy them. You could. Everybody was just buying them like crazy, and I think they outlawed them. I'm pretty sure they're outlawed now. Binary triggers are already illegal in Washington. Yeah, okay. Hobbs would know. So they're illegal here in Washington, but not at the federal level yet. Because I know I was watching one channel where they said that they were trying to change the federal rules to like reword it so that a binary trigger would be illegal. And so it's this constant, like I was saying earlier, it's like this constant battle between 2 entities that just keep one-upping each other. Like one tries to find a way around it, the other one tries to find a way to suppress it. Yeah. And it just keeps going up and up and up and up until everybody has like a bazooka that's technically fired by an AI, so it's not a human operating it. So technically it's
legal. How they get around the
I got to take a piss really bad. Can you hold down the fort?
I'll try. These guys are crazy in here.
All right, get them all calmed down. They're a little riled up. Get them calmed down.
Yeah, man. I don't know. That stuff is weird. Man. I've been kind of obsessed with this Brotato. You guys have been playing this? Brotato, Vampire Survivors, these like I don't know, it's like a cross up of I don't know, people are telling me they're called arena shooter, bullet hell, like it's pretty neat, man. This Brotato, Vampire Survivors, these I don't know. It doesn't feel like a new genre necessarily because like it feels like an offshoot of games like Binding of Isaac, you know, that kind of thing. But I'm digging it. I'm digging it a lot. It's really fun. Tetris looks good. The other game is too retro. What? VS is good. I'm playing No Man's Sky. Oh yeah, No Man's Sky. Yeah. The next day, only one guy got away with it. What? Dave Webster. Thousands for gun buybacks. There's a loophole with 3D gun printed parts. That's funny. Dad gone, start the troll and pretend you're running a ball. Trinidad when he comes back. Did you see Florida voted to allow felons who got past parole the right to vote? 2 years later, the governor changed some details and arrested 20 people this week. What the fuck? That's whack. I do think so. This is a subject that I don't have a lot of knowledge on, but I do think that like maybe non-violent offenders should have the right to vote back. You know, after they've served their term and stuff. It does seem a little bit of a raw deal to be like fucked over for life, you know, for mistakes.
I would say for non-violent federal crime.
Yeah, well, I mean, not even federal necessarily, but yeah, like nonviolent crimes. You serve your time. You should be a solid citizen again. Like, I feel like it's unfair the straight up discrimination that occurs for some folk who have criminal records. Yeah, every person should be voting regardless of criminal record. I don't agree. If you are clearly not adhering to the social contract, then you should not have a voice in the social contract. If you're out there killing folk or kidnapping kids and all that stuff, like, no, you have clearly shown, like, I don't care. Like, yeah, you served your time. You stuck your nose in the corner for however long we told you to, and you come back. Like, maybe after a certain amount of time or something, like, you can show. It's not just, do criminals even vote? I mean, I'm sure you hear about the Florida. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're told they could vote, then they changed it without really saying, and people then got in trouble. And that's the old switcheroo. Like, that shit's unfair. That's not.
No, that's a little. Yeah, that's different. Like, if you're talking about the case where the people were issued a valid voting card when they sent in the registration and they voted because they were issued a voting card, it's like, at that point, that's the state's problem, because the state should have that's like going to the DMV and they give you a driver's license. Like, you sign up, you do the paperwork, they look at
and then
record,
they raise the age or something, right?
Right. And then you go drive and you get pulled over 2 blocks away, and it's like, you can't have a driver's license. You're not 18 years old. And it's like, but they gave me a driver's license. Does that mean I can drive? No. It's like, no, that's on the state's fault. They need to make sure that you cannot get that.
I don't necessarily agree. If you deny the right to vote, you're just a commie. Nah. Again, it's about the social contract, right? Like, it's one thing to say, like, you were in possession of marijuana and you got in trouble for that, or like, I don't know, even something like shoplifting, or I don't know, like. Again, this is something this is all just off the cuff, so don't take this too seriously here. So I'm just kind of making this up as I go, just feelings. But like I said, like non-violent crimes, like after your time, a lot of that should just be scrubbed, honestly. And you should have your voting rights returned to you. But if you're out there like beating people up or like scamming, I don't know, there's a weird grayness to it, but it's fucking weird. I do think there are instances where you should have your voting rights restored to you after having served your time. But I also think that there are crimes where no, you have violated the social contract to such an extreme. And even if there are murderers, straight up murderers, like first degree, I planned this, I killed somebody who only got 25 or 30 years and they got out. Like, I don't imagine it's a significant enough number to like sway the general like direction of how laws would be passed and things. But no, like, you fucked up in a huge way. You should be punished, and you should have some of your, some of those things like held back. But that's all.
Yeah, for me, it's just the violent stuff. Like, if you pay your debt to society for like white collar crime or drugs or something like that, where
even some white collar stuff is outrageous, and you should be punished for a long time, and shouldn't be able to have a voice in the group anymore. Bernie Madoff, you think he should be able to vote again? You think he should have all the rights and privileges afforded to the people who follow the rules? No, it's a privilege. Like, you get some of this stuff as a privilege. And some of that stuff gets taken away because you broke the rules, and you shouldn't ever get that back. I don't care how sorry you are. I don't care how long you sat in a fucking jail cell. You fucked up at such an extreme. And again, I don't know where the line is. It's very fuzzy sort of things, but man, it's like there are some things,
Yeah. I mean, for me, the only, like, if I wanted to play devil's advocate,
tell me what I can drive, what I can have, what I can say or do. That's not the way America is. Yes, it is. Dude, has been from the fucking beginning. But we're going way down. We're going way off down a path here. I do think all. I don't want to go on and on and on and on about this. I do think.
Freedom isn't real, though. We can all admit that, like, what people think freedom is, like, oh, you're violating my freedom.
Social contract. No, it's a social construct. You have to agree to the social
contract. Otherwise, it's not freedom, because your freedom might be to kill people, and that's not okay, because you're taking other people's freedom away by killing them. You're taking their rights away.
The right for you to swing your arm ends where my nose begins. So it's like defining privileges is no longer okay. We're way out of the. This is not. No, we're not going to go down this path. I'm not following down this, because all of this is made up. All of it is made up. All of it. The rules, the fucking money, the value of everything is all made up. So I can sorry, that's enough. I do think some people should get their voting rights back. I do, and some should not. And that's the long and the short of it.
No, I agree with that. Especially when the laws change too, like drug laws, right? It's like, didn't they just say like everybody that? Oh wait, was the president? Didn't he pardon everybody that was in jail for weed?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so like they're out now, and it's no longer illegal, right? It was legal back then, so that should be purged from the record. Because even though it's technically illegal back then, it isn't illegal today, and they got let out because it wasn't illegal. So shouldn't it be completely expunged? I don't know. There's a lot of edge cases to this. Like like I'm not pretending to know all the answers because I sure as hell don't.
Yeah, but that's all.
But I just don't like bad people. That's me. I just don't like evil people that make it their life's purpose to hurt other people for their own benefit. And it drives me nuts.
Pardon federal. Yeah. He pardoned federal like possession, minor stuff. But yeah, I don't know. That's fine. It's fine.
What about the one dude that's been there forever?
I don't know. What about JavaScript Windows 95? What is this?
Like fucking bail out. What did I do? Bail out.
Yeah, man.
You can't just drag me into a topic like that and then just steer me off. Why? I suppose
I tried to wrap these commercial breaks up real fast, but
I go try to take a piss and I come back and you guys are all.
This is when you should have run an ad. This is when you should have run an ad.
That's like the shit I'm supposed to do, guys. Those are the tangents I'm supposed to run off, and Aux is supposed to hold me back.
Right,
man, it's all topsy-turvy right now.
That's enough for your "Don't Get Me Started" segment of Tech Talk.
Let's just TLDR.
Y'all got me started.
The TLDR is just be good, be a good person, and don't hurt other people. Regardless, like no freedoms, no laws, whatever. Just none of that matters. You can have your own opinion on it, but just don't fucking hurt people. If you murder people and rape people, you deserve what's coming to you. That's all I'm saying.
This is why I'd be a benevolent dictator.
Like my dick butt.
My dictator.
That's my dictator there.
It's like a potato that looks like my wang.
It's funny. Xander was like, he picks it up and he goes, "Oh, that's it's a wiener butt. Look, it's a wiener butt."
Yeah.
All right, let's get it. Let's get into
so JavaScript 95. What is this? Is somebody clone Windows 95 in JavaScript? Because I will put that on my sleeper build right now.
Yeah, no, it's a trip. It's on GitHub. And some guy created a project that actually fully runs Windows 95 under JavaScript in a web browser on any device. So it doesn't have to be x86. It's basically using Java, the JavaScript engine, to emulate an x86 processor using JavaScript, not Java, JavaScript. And so anything that can execute JavaScript can now run Windows 95. It's basically it's virtualizing the hardware and everything and creating an x86 like emulated PC in JavaScript, which is crazy because usually it'd have to be in something like Java or some lower level language. You wouldn't think that you would have enough access in a browser to create like a full blown self-contained, like have an operating system.
Well, I mean, for 95, that makes sense.
It's a trip. I think
because you don't need a whole lot. You don't need access to a whole lot of resources and stuff. You're not.
No, I mean, for an operating system, especially you have to have access to everything, right?
Well, sort of. If you're only emulating the operating system, you can get away with, you can cut some corners, and the browser has access to enormous amounts of resources. Like you can talk to, I mean, especially through HTML5 and JavaScript and stuff, you can people shit on JavaScript, but it is a very robust object-oriented programming language. Like it is good. Yeah. So you're only emulating it, so you don't need access to a lot of the really sub-level stuff because the browser already has access to some of that stuff, and and you can feed, like you're not getting in there and changing network protocols or some real low-level stuff. There's no way. But like everything you need to run Windows 95, it totally makes sense that it would be available there through a browser. Yeah, probably.
I want to say one thing. So in chat, you always get the obligatory, this is actually old news. This has already been done before. Blah, blah, blah.
Sure. I'm sure.
No, of course it is. But here's the thing: not everybody knows about it. So when something can be around for years and years and years, and if it's too high of a technical level, a lot of people won't know about it. And this is something that anybody can do. Like you can go to this GitHub project, just download it. You can run it locally. You don't have to run it in your web browser. Like this is the one where you go to the website and you run Windows 95. This is like you can run it locally under the JavaScript engine, your operating system, without even using the web browser if you don't want to. You don't have to. You can run Windows 95 as a standalone exe. You can just run Windows 95 exe. It'll bring the JavaScript engine online. It'll emulate the PC, run it, create a window, and have it all self-contained like a virtual PC, all from starting an executable, not like starting a doc. And you can run it in a Docker container too if you want to. So it is a little bit different, but here's the thing: even though it's possible, it's still technology that a lot of people didn't know about. I know I've done the in-browser Windows 95 before, where you go to the website and it basically loads in the web browser. I've done that one before, but that one didn't have like Doom built into it and Quake and a bunch of other games working. So I want to play around with this because I think it's a really, really cool concept, because the fact that it's just a standalone exe. Like, I think that's what makes it like really cool, is you can just download a standalone exe, just run it. It's got everything built into it to utilize the JavaScript engine, everything just to run and have like Windows running in an application on your desktop.
Dude, I dig it.
And I think it's neat. I think it's really, really neat. I think it's a good demonstration of how far emulation has come and how ridiculously simple it is. Because think about this. You could run this on a Raspberry Pi. You could run this on, I don't know, you might even be able to run it on Arduino. If you can get an Arduino to run JavaScript and have the right dependencies, you could run this on an Arduino. You could run it on a freaking like Apple Watch. Well, not an Apple Watch, but you could. If you had a JavaScript engine inside of an app on an Apple Watch, you could embed this and have Windows 95 running on your Apple Watch. So it's the portability that makes this interesting to me. The fact that not necessarily that it's just a VM, right? Because a lot of systems have VMs that you can install and run, but the fact that you just start with an exe, you start with a single point executable on any of these systems, and everything is self-contained, making it easy and obtainable to everybody.
Yeah,
I think that's what really makes this cool. And just a lot of people will say, like I always do this. I do this on my Twitch stream all the time. AuxxZillary is I do this demonstration to show that not everybody knows everything. Like when you're like, I get a lot of people tell me, don't do that. Somebody's already done that. Somebody's already made that video. Somebody's done that before. Hey, you made a video. Oh, this guy already did it. It's like, okay, first of all, I'm not going to know that somebody else did it. Like, I'm not. There's too many people out there in the world and too many channels to know if somebody else tweeted 5 years ago about something I'm tweeting about because I just learned about it today. So there's people that don't know about stuff because it doesn't spread as rampant as you think it does. So what I do is I just use the one that I use all the time. I say, hold down Windows key and press period. Don't worry, it's not going to close your web browser. It's not going to do anything.
Oh, for the emoji
bring up an emoji. It's just an emoji menu. That's all it does. And you can also do semicolon. You can do Windows semicolon. Does the same thing. And it brings up the emoji window. Every single time I say that, even if I stream 1,000 times, there's always one person in chat that's like, dude, I didn't know that. Oh my God, that's amazing. And so it just goes to prove, because people are like, oh, that's old news. Oh, I already knew about that. Find something new. And it's like, well, it's new to the person that I just told.
Yeah, man. That's it.
You got to realize
that's
it's
why
always new.
That's why you see people like YouTube channels, like TechTuber YouTube channels will still do like low-level advice like that, or what I would consider low-level advice. Because man, not like you might have known, but you are probably a power user compared to someone else, and it's like, there's, or people just starting out will be like, oh, I don't know if I want to do like a video on X because so and so did it already or has done it better. It doesn't matter. There's that's what I mean about it. That's what I mean about is it's not a zero-sum game. Just because Linus has already done a video on it doesn't mean every possible person ever has already seen that video. Hell, it might even be like at the top of the list and yours is like number 10. People are still going to try and, man, the perfect example of this, I think, there's a video on Puget Systems YouTube channel. It is by far the most watched, most commented on, most viewed video that they've ever put out. It's from 2016. It's one of the support. It's not even a talking head, but it's a how to initialize and format a hard drive in Windows 10. And there are comments on there every single day, at least 2, 3, 4, 5 comments every single day saying, "This was great. Thank you so much. You fixed my problem. I've had this hours, blah, blah." I guarantee there's hundreds of videos out there doing the exact same thing. That one is better for some reason, and it's because it's clear, concise. There's no music, there's no nothing. It's just, hey, this is Chris. I'm going to show you what to do. Follow along, and that's it. and it's great. But like, I guarantee there are better like production quality videos out there that cover the same topic. There's some, and there's a lot of questions too, like, hey, should I do this, or it's not showing up, and I can't, we can't do tech support in the fucking YouTube comments, but it doesn't matter. Make the videos, man. Just make the content. It doesn't matter. somebody's going to want to
images, video. Like, don't let other people make you feel like, oh, it's been done to death and everybody already knows. Because no matter what it is you're doing, somebody's going to know what you know, and they're going to try to talk you out of it and be like, oh, I already know it, because they assume that because they know it, everybody else does. That's why common mistake in developer world too. Is software developers will be like, oh, I'm not going to patronize this other software developer by telling him about an API because I know about it, so does he. He must have a good reason for not using it. But then you find out later, it's like, no, they didn't know about that API, because it turns out most developers don't know about the 500 trillion APIs that are on every operating system that grow by another 500 trillion every day. There's not enough bandwidth for anybody to figure that out. You chase down what you need when you need it, and you learn it. And another great example I want to point out too is remember that 3D printed gearbox video I did?
Uh-huh.
So it was a planetary gear that had 3 stages, and I made that video, and somebody was like, oh, somebody already did it. Oh, here's a link to YouTube video. Somebody already did it. Oh, dude, that's nothing new. Why don't you print something original on your 3D printer? Oh, yawn. That video got like 2 million views, huge up likes. People in comments were like, holy shit, I didn't know something like this existed. I linked back to the guy whose model I printed. I had his permission. I linked back to his thing. His Thingiverse blew up. His downloads went up by like fucking 100x. He was like completely ecstatic and thought it was the greatest thing ever. And then after that, everybody was printing like I printed a 3 stage. The other guys were printing 1 stages. Some guy printed like a 9 stage that you'd have to turn it until the sun exploded to get the last gear to move an inch. And it was just like, it was so cool to watch that just keep expanding. But you always have the really loud people in the comments who are like, oh, I already knew about that. No, I've already seen that. Oh, that's
this isn't for you.
You shouldn't do that. And it's like, well, then don't watch it. Why did you click on it? You obviously knew what the video was. It was in the thumbnail. You're literally clicking on it just to flex in the comments and say you shouldn't have made it because I already knew. Yeah. It's like, no.
That's why when I'm building PCs, I repeat myself over and over, or people ask the same questions and stuff, and I answer the same questions over and over. It's because there's always new people. Like I'm always saying, like, hey, when you plug it into power switch, look at the block. It's almost always the 2 pins next to the missing pin. You put that there. Below that's the reset switch. To the left of that is your hard drive light. To the above that is your power light. It's like, anybody who's built more than 2 computers probably has that memorized. But there's plenty of folk who don't. So,
you just don't let people talk you out of stuff like that. That's something that was like really bad in the beginning of me making content. Is you'd have people that would come in and be like, oh yeah, you shouldn't have done that. Somebody already did. Oh, that's dumb. Like when I made the Windows 10 video, everybody's like, oh, everybody knows the Windows shortcuts. No, they don't. I'd argue that like fucking less than 10% of people know all the Windows shortcuts. Probably less than that. And just because you're a power user and you took the time to learn all that doesn't mean that everybody else did, or even had a reason to go and learn. They didn't even know they were there because they didn't have a reason to even seek that out. But once they see it, they're like, ooh, that's useful. And so one thing that's really common in any community with content creation is there's this weird like stigma that everybody has. It's like, oh, if somebody else creates something, there can be nothing else added to that. Like you're just copying them. If you do like if they reviewed, this can of Sprite or whatever, then I can't review the can of Sprite, because if I do that, then I'm just copying them, even if I take it from a different angle. And it's like, well, that's not true.
It's voice, man. Everybody's got a different angle on it. Everybody wants to, man.
Just gets more eyes on shit.
Do it. Make the thing.
Yeah, it's like when I tweet out stuff every once in a while, and people be like, so, oh, hey, here's a tech tip, and tons of comments are like, oh, thank you, this is so amazing, and it's like, dude, why don't you post something useful? It's like, okay, well, all the comments above you say it's useful, all the likes and retweets say it's useful, but the thing is even with, let's say 100 people retweet it, okay, how many people does that get in front of realistically? A couple thousand out of like the hundreds of millions that are on these platforms?
Right.
It's like even stuff that goes viral gets missed by like, 80% of the people on the platform because they're just not online when it goes viral. So just because something has been said, you got to get that misconception out of your head that because you know it, so does everybody else.
Right.
And just because you teach something once doesn't mean you can't teach it again. This is another misconception. They're like, oh, somebody was like, I made a follow-up to a video. They're like, oh, you already did a video where you're programming computers. It's like, yeah, but I'm programming something different.
Yeah, it's new. Things have changed.
That's the value. And they're like, oh, but everybody already saw that you can program. Everybody already knows that. It's like, no, but I'm showing somebody how to do something different, and I'm giving them a new foundation to work off of. But unfortunately, you get people that they get if they're following you for a long time, they'll get really mad if they create a piece of content and they think in their head, oh, he's done this before at some point throughout the years. Instead of just going, well, if you don't like it or if it's something you've already seen, then just get out of it. Just leave and go watch something else. I just hate that people online, man. It's making me negative too, quite frankly. It really is poisoning the shit out of me, because now I find myself doing it and I fucking hate myself for it when I snap out of it. But it's like you get to this point where you're so soured by everybody else, And I'm literally in therapy for this shit, for social media, like no joke. It's like you just get so toxic that you're just on edge. You're literally just on edge, just doom scrolling fucking every day.
I catch myself that way.
It's a waste of time. It just makes you feel bad. It's like, yeah, and I still do it. I'm not saying that I have the solution. Like social media addiction is a very, very real thing. Very real. And you basically get in this constant thing where it's like, okay, you get a dopamine boost if somebody like shares your stuff or it gets received well, but you also get like norepinephrine boost when it's like fight or flight or somebody does something that really pisses you off, and it constantly keeps you engaged. That's social media's job, right? I mean, social media, quite literally, the algorithm is designed to keep you there as long as humanly possible. That is the goal of the algorithm, because the longer that you are there, the more money that they are making. That's because as long as they have your attention, they can do something with that attention. That attention is valuable to them.
Yeah.
Even if they put an advertisement up for like some shitty fucking Raid Shadow Legends ripoff game that's taking advantage of their community. This is another thing. People are like, oh God, sorry. I have to talk about this one, Aux. This is a Raid Shadow Legends. I got to go off on my tangent here.
All right.
So this pisses me off. People keep telling me, they're like, dude, just do the Raid Shadow Legends ad. Because I told them they'll pay $10,000 for me to promote Raid Shadow Legends. Jeez. I personally will not do it. I will not do it because the company literally is a sub company of a gambling company. They make slot machines. The game serves no other purpose than to exploit people. That's all this is. Literally to create a gambling addiction and use FOMO, fear of missing out, as a means to extract money from you and really return you no value for it. Just basically get you stuck in this perpetual competition with your friends or people that are in the game online, making you feel like you have to spend more and more money. And the longer you play it, the more it pulls you into that, and it learns what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do so that it can exploit that further. Anyways, long story short, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. They're a predatory company. That the reason that they can offer to pay more than any other contract right now for anything, like by a huge margin, and why you see everybody promoting them is because they make so much money from ripping people off. They're literally a gambling company. They just print money. And so on a game that they claim is free to play and, it's absolutely free to play and do this, but it's not really, because it just bugs you the entire time. And if you say no, when you say no, it'll start holding up your progress and start pointing out how far your friends are ahead of you, or it'll encourage you in the game to get to know other people. So then you feel like you're in competition with them because you want to keep up with them. It's just this whole business model that sucks. But people are like, dude, why don't you just do it? They're like, everybody else does it. Why don't you just do it? They're like, everybody knows it's a scam. They're like, dude, you don't have to worry about it. Like your audience is smart enough to know it's not a scam. Like, just take their money. It's like, you don't understand though. See, you're smart enough not to know that, but that doesn't mean that everybody is. You're making a huge assumption there.
Yeah, people are dumb.
They are. Let me throw this out. Let me throw this out here. If everybody knew that Raid Shadow Legends was a scam, and Raid Shadow Legends is paying $10,000 for you to promote a scam that not a single one of your users goes and signs up for and plays and doesn't make the company any money, how does that business model work, and how can they afford to keep paying $10,000 to everybody to keep doing it over and over and over again? The answer is they couldn't. The reason they can afford to pay more than any other person is because when you're sitting there going, oh, Raid Shadow Legends, I know, hey, I'm glad it's supporting the creator, but I know it's a scam. I'm not going to do that. Hey, take that money. There's a whole bunch of younger kids, and there's a whole bunch of people that command spending power on their devices that are now going and playing that because you read the script and told them, oh, I play this game and it's awesome, and you get your champion, and oh my God, it's just so amazing. Ding, 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 lights and everything, doing everything they can to basically allow minors to gamble. That's basically what it is. Minors that have parents that have a card linked to the account or money funded in the account or whatever, like drawing those kids in to spend that money. And getting literally like nothing in return other than this addiction that keeps pulling them back and making them repeat the same thing day after day after day, like cookie clicker. And so that's why I don't take it, because somebody might be like, oh, well, I'm smart enough to avoid that, but it's just like with scamming. It's like people are like, people who get scammed deserve it. No, they don't. They really don't, because nobody told them about the scam. Nobody took the time to actually say, hey, listen, grandma, there's this scam going around and they're targeting people that are exactly like you, that are pensioners, retired and they want to always do right by the law. And really, if the IRS is after them, they want to make it right. Like, they're targeting those people on purpose because they know that people haven't taken the time to explain the scams to the older generation. The younger generation, they assume that most of them know about the scams, so they have to take a different approach. The IRS scam isn't going to work on a younger person usually. So it's one of those things where it's like, if we just took the time, if every one of us took the time to every single person we know to go and tell them, and even if they tell us and we already know, be like, oh no, I know, hey, but keep telling people. If we all encouraged each other to just keep broadcasting out there would not be a scammer, there would not be a Raid Shadow Legends, because everybody would run the ad, take their $10,000, and they would never get that $10,000 back, which means they don't have money to do it again. You'd completely collapse all of these scams. You know, it's like one of the biggest ones is that Trainwrecks TV guy. It drives me absolutely freaking nuts that people like defend him. Oh, he's a good guy. He gives away $50,000. He gives away $10,000. It's like, dude, he admitted publicly that he got paid $300 million by an offshore crypto gambling company for gambling funds that weren't his. He claims they're his, but they're actually they're on top of that $300 million. So on top of the $300 million, they're giving him money to lose. So he's not losing his own money just so he can keep gambling. If he runs out of money, he can infinitely just keep refunding the account because they can give him as much as he needs to keep the stream going. And even giving him $300 million over the years, that means that the gambling company has made more than $300 million off of his fans gambling on their illegal offshore gambling website than they've paid him. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. They wouldn't keep re-upping that deal over and over and over again every month if he wasn't getting enough people to sign up to the service and put enough and buy enough crypto and lose enough crypto in their casino to justify a huge profit margin over what they're paying him and all the other creators combined for what they're bringing to their platform. And so when you look at it that way, it's like, yeah, if I got $300 million for robbing banks, yeah, I'd give 50,000 away here and there too to look like a good guy. like when everybody's like calling you out for like, you know, like, oh, Twitch is shutting me down for doing gambling streams. It's like, yeah, but your gambling streams are literally showing off a specific site that is offshore and targeting minors that you can create an account, fund it, gamble, and lose it. And then if you do win, let's say you do win, because you could, you know, there are people that do win. Yeah. Let's say you win. Then what they do is say, we can't pay you until we verify your age, but only after you've won. If you're losing money, they don't give a shit. It's only after. So all of his fans will go over there, they'll sign up, they'll start gambling, and most of them lose their money. 99% of them lose their money. But the 1% that might win some, they go to check it out, and it's like, oh, you're under the age of 18, so we can't cash you out by the law of whatever. Oh, wait, you used a VPN? You're not in our country? Oh, we thought you were in our little country here, even though they know they're not. Not even Trainwrecks is there. It's just, it pisses me off because it's like these guys know exactly what the fuck they're doing. They are manipulating their audiences just like Raid Shadow Legends for hundreds of millions of dollars by creating these massive gambling addictions in children that otherwise wouldn't be allowed into casinos here. They're leading them offshore and basically, oh, how do you connect those casinos? Oh, I use a VPN. And then the casino, like if you try to cash out, the casino's like, oh, we don't allow people to use VPNs, even though they could detect them. Yeah. Like they could detect them and just close you out and not even allow you to gamble. Sorry, we know that you're not in this country or we know you're using a VPN. You can't gamble here. But what happens when you win and you go to cash out? They're like, are you 18? And you're like, oh, no, I'm not 18. Okay, well, then we can't cash you out. Are you using a VPN? Where are you located? Where do we need to send the payment? Oh, United States? Oh, sorry, we can't do that because it's illegal to gamble in the United States. Okay, well, give me my money back. No, it doesn't work that way. You should have known the rules before you were gambling. But Trainwrecks isn't going out of his way to tell people like every 5 minutes during his stream that these are the rules and this is offshore gambling and I'm spending money that they're giving me, so this isn't out of pocket. I make more money than I spend doing this, and that's why I keep doing it. And shit like that bothers me because, and I'm glad Twitch did that. I want to be clear. I am so glad that Twitch shut that down because there's a lot of people that did enjoy watching it. But here's the thing: if you're a person that enjoys watching gambling, that's one thing. Right. But when all these kids, when he is literally like, it's mostly kids, as far as I know, I don't know if he's an 18 plus. He might have been an 18 plus stream, but back when I watched him, he wasn't. It just opened up. It didn't say, are you 18 or whatever. Yeah. So a huge portion of his like 40,000 people that are watching him live are like kids that are probably like 12, 13, 14. They're probably going and buying crypto off of some fucking edgy website or doing some stupid shit to get the crypto using their parents' credit cards or whatever. Then go into this gambling site and gambling because they want to gamble like Trainwrecks because they just saw him win like $1 million. And then they don't win the $1 million and they lose the money. And then they come back to watch some more streams and they do it again and again and again. And I'm like, come on, man. Like Twitch should have cracked down on this a long time ago. They knew it was bad. This is another example of just like G Fuel and fucking Keemstar and stuff. They know it's wrong. They know it's fucking wrong, but it's only when somebody has a huge voice, makes it trend and it blows up and everybody knows what the fuck's going on. Then it's like, okay, the jig is up. We have to act like we're against it. You know, YouTube did the same thing too, man, when it came to like back in the day, all the child exploitation stuff. Oh, yeah. Man. Like the morning routine streams from like 11 and 12-year-old girls and stuff like that. And they're like 14 million views. And you know, it's been reported hundreds of thousands of times. And they don't do anything about it because it's just moneymaker. Yeah. And you're like, where the fuck are the parents? Like, obviously, they don't meet the age requirements for TOS. You can tell, just look at it, like ask for a proof of age. Like, why are you just letting this channel continue like this? And it's because it makes a lot of money and they were running lots of ads on those videos and there was a lot of money to be made from those channels. But then when There was the uprising, after Adpocalypse, that one guy went forward, a big YouTuber came forward and he showed the video where if you go into search and you search for very specific things, then it'll show you the stuff that's not in normal searches, which proves to you that YouTube is already looking at that content and saying, ooh, we don't want this showing up because if people see it, they're going to report it. And so they put it somewhere where you have to explicitly be searching for it, hoping that people that explicitly searching for it are less likely to report it or notice it. It's such a game, man. It's like the shit that these companies do for money just blows my mind, man.
Yep.
They lie to themselves all day long, looking in the mirror like, oh, I didn't see it. I don't know what happened, so it's not my problem. As long as the money's poured in, they'll do it. And the thing is a company will always make a decision based on what makes them the most money. Like, that's all you got to do. And here's the thing. If they look like they're doing something good, like they're giving a charity or something like that, the reason they're doing that is to shake a bad image or to get some kind of tax benefit. Like, they're never doing it just out of the kindness of their heart, even though they'll say that publicly because that's the PR spin, right? Yeah. Same thing with YouTube. YouTube's like, oh my God, we can't believe that this child exploitation material was on our platform. And we're doing everything we can to take care of it. Like 2 days later, it's like mostly cleaned up. Not all the way, but a lot better than it was. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, why didn't you guys do that years ago? Like, everybody's I even report it when I come across it. Like I even go put a report in the system and urge it, and this is child exploitation, blah, blah, blah. Nothing ever heard back. Nothing ever gets taken. I just get an email back that's like, oh, we've reviewed it, and we decided that this doesn't violate community guidelines. And I'm like, what? And so they didn't do anything because it wasn't getting enough attention from people that were big enough. It was only when a ton of people came forward and advertisers were like, well, this is what caused this. I think it was the first Adpocalypse. They're like, we don't want our ads running on these videos. So the advertisers pulled out. And it was some big ones, like Coca-Cola pulled out. I think Pepsi was involved too. I think Pepsi pulled out. It was a bunch of big guys, really big companies pulled out. And then YouTube was like, oh, we can't believe this happened on the platform. Okay, we fixed it. And oh, this is great. And we're doing so much better. And we really care about children and everything to try to bring the advertisers back. But as long as the advertisers had stayed on the platform, they would have just continued to ignore it. Yep. It was only because they were losing money. And then it became, do we keep losing money by losing our advertisers, or do we finally get off of our ass and actually fix this hole? Even though it was making us tons of money, we were making more from the advertisers. Yeah. So it's better. So then they look at which one loses us the least amount of money, and that's their choice. But the choice will always be, given the options on the table, whatever leaves them with more money at the end of the day is the decision. That's it, period. That's business. And so if you ever see like bad shit going on, like on website stuff, you're wondering why the site isn't doing anything about it. That's why. Yeah. Same thing with Kiwi Farms, right? Kiwi Farms that went down with Cloudflare. Did you guys watch that whole shit go down?
Oh yeah, same. It's the same thing. They're only going to move when it is like worth it.
Well, you saw when Cloudflare responded, right? And Cloudflare was like, we're going to protect Kiwi Farms and the bad guys. Yeah. Like Cloudflare's like, we're going to protect them, not because we agree with what they're doing. We just believe that everybody deserves the right to these protection services or DDoS protection, everything. And they made this whole spiel about it. Like, we're not going to change our mind. We know the public's mad, but hey, we're sticking to our guns on this one. And then 24 hours later, literally 24 hours later, because the advertisers were pulling out. Yep. And I happen to know two of the big ones that said that they were already looking for their exit strategies. They come out with a letter the very next day and say, oh, we actually decided in the long run that we were going to take Kiwi Farms off of our service because they were making death threats to like employees and stuff, which by the way, they already were before this. Like that wasn't nothing new. And they needed a scapegoat. And they were just basically, because of that, we decided to change our policy, even though just previously they were like, we will never waive on this. We're not giving into pressure. And then the very next day they did. And they did because they were losing money. They thought that taking that hard stance would not only make their big corporate customers feel like they were secure in staying there, but it also made their illegal customers, which make up a huge part of their revenue, feel comfortable being on that platform and knowing that they had their back, right? For the money. But what they realized at the end of the day is all the illegal stuff combined wasn't making as much money as the huge corporate guys. So they chose the huge corporate guys is what they did. So again, you have another example of them trying to play it off best they can publicly, but in reality, it's whichever one leaves them with the most money at the end of the day is what they choose, regardless of what they say. Yeah. They lost 20 million in one day. That was a deciding factor. Yeah. Companies were pulling out like crazy, like huge ones. Like I was surprised. Like I even had an insider at Microsoft that said that because they use Cloudflare, I believe, with Azure. And and so they were even looking at an exit strategy. Man. And so they had already sent a mail like a couple days like after this kicked off. They already sent a mail saying that they are looking for exit strategies and basically saying like, listen, if you guys are going to stay this course, we're not going to stay with you. And then of course their partners agree with them. So their partners send the same message. It just cascades out of control until Cloudflare is like, oh shit, we're going to lose all our money. Okay, let's How do we save face when the CEO who's friends with the Kiwi Farms guy is like, oh, sorry guys, but we're never gonna do this, and then they do it 24 hours later? It's like, it just goes to show it doesn't matter what people say. If you move the money, if you hurt the wallet, everything else follows. It's just how it fucking works in business. It's crazy. So we talked about Windows 95 and JavaScript. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna play with that today, by the way. Meta Quest Pro. What have you seen about that?
I don't know. It's the new headset from Meta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically it's like the pro version. Well, not really. There's a pro version of the Oculus Quest coming out, but this is from the same company that makes the Oculus Quest. Now it's Meta because Facebook bought them and then they rebranded recently. So the Meta, this is what blew everybody's mind. So this thing comes out, and first of all, they thought it was going to be the new Quest, basically like a Quest Pro kind of thing. Yeah. And it turns out that it's not. It's more of like a HoloLens, but without the pass. Like you're using cameras for pass through instead of like optical lenses. Like, I don't know if have you ever used a HoloLens before?
I have. It's rad.
It's a trip, isn't it? Like how you're looking out into the real world through the lens, and it's like solid objects are
and it's just like floating there. Yeah. Yep. Actually, but it was at an escape room. Actually, they were very fancy. They put the you put the freaking helmet on, and you saw like a 3D model of a thing in another part of the escape room, and you're supposed to like look at it was really neat. It was very clever.
That's actually pretty cool because I think they still are like $3,000 plus a headset
at the time. Yeah, it was. I was shocked that they had one of the HoloLens things. Yeah, it was very expensive.
Did it look like it was like a postage stamp in front of you like this big, or did it look like it felt more your vision like this?
I mean, it's like a blast shield thing, the big plastic or thing you're looking
like where does the image end?
The model?
The projection. Yeah, like you usually see hard cuts where it's like the 3D models fall off.
I mean, it looked like it was sitting on the pedestal. The thing that I was looking at looked like it was there, and like I could walk around it and stuff. I mean, you turn your head away from it, and I don't recall where like the cutoff was, but like
because on the original HoloLens it was really narrow. Like you had to look right at it like this, and if you turned your head, you didn't see it. Even though you could peripherally see it, you didn't see it.
The field of view was robust.
It must have been the two then. It must have been the new HoloLens.
It's not the full. What is it? Humans have like 100, not quite 180. It's like 160 degrees. Or something. You can't see your ears, right? It was at least that much. I didn't notice anything weird about it at the time.
It's a trip though. The technology is a trip. So what happened is Meta decided to go a different route. Instead of doing the optics with the projection and the prisms and everything to do the overlay with reality, instead they're like, well, why don't we just use two cameras for stereoscopic? So one camera for one eye, one camera for the other eye, roughly positioned, with your IPD, and then record the world through these cameras, composite it together, and then overlay the 3D on top of that in the goggles. So when you're looking around, it's like you are looking through the headset with like minimal lag, and you're seeing your environment, your keyboard and everything. But people said the resolution, when they did the reviews, they said the resolution, it was distorted at the edges. So there was noticeable distortion around the edges because of the camera lensing and the compositing. And they also said that text was hard to read. Like text was blurry. Like if you tried to read a newspaper through it, unless you put the newspaper like this close to your face, you couldn't read just because the resolution's not there.
Sure.
So unlike the HoloLens where it's like you have, life, there is no resolution.
It's a clear, you're seeing through, which was also very remarkable about the HoloLens. Like you could see through it just, no different than wearing like a pair of safety goggles, really, that sort of that level of distortion. But then there's like an architectural model like right there as well. Like
it's insane. It's like literally cool. So many people,
really well done.
Yeah, people don't know how far. If you haven't tried it, which a lot of people haven't because of the price point, but it's pretty neat to see something that's so sci-fi. It's like a holodeck on your head, right? It's like you're seeing your room, you're in your room, but you can actually like model things, and it'll actually use its AI engine to like figure out like to keep things in bounds. So you can have like little critters running across your desk and climbing up on shit, and because it'll model your room. It's actually scanning your room and modeling it, and then putting the 3D objects into the physics of your world. And so it's really cool tech. Well, Meta decided to make a more powerful device. Their device is technically more powerful with the Surface using more modern technology.
It's a pretty good thing. Yeah.
And because it's using cameras and it's not having to like scan and take the image and align it with the room perfectly with your natural vision, because they're just compositing it all together into the two lenses, that you get a more natural sensation with like basically like infinite focus, like focusing into infinity, which is something the human eye doesn't normally do. So it's a little weird. But the reason I think they did this is just because it was so much cheaper to go this route than it was to try to do the optical overlay with the projection and stuff. Like to make that look good with color and like being completely solid with like high resolution wasn't an option with current technology. So they build this device and it has good resolution. It's got really decent resolution. I'd say it's I don't think it's high as like a Pimax, but it's up there. It's pretty high resolution per eye. They use these new pancake lenses, so it's like thinner. It's not this like, you know, like really big Oculus Quest looking thing. It's like more close to your face like this, so it's more comfortable to wear. But the problem is it costs $1,500.
Yeah, that's
$1,500. That's like $400 more than like a full Valve Index setup with like laser tracking on the walls and shit, right? With way better controllers. Yeah. And so their price point blew people away. Like people thought it was literally gonna be like $600, $700, and then it's like $1,500. And it's got some cool features like the controllers. One thing I really do like about it is I might buy the controllers alone. They're $300, but they work with the Quest.
Oh, nice. That's handy.
Backwards compatible.
That's nice.
And so they roughly cost twice as much as the regular controllers. But the thing I like about them is they have their own camera and tracking system built into each controller.
Oh, cool.
So instead of a Quest where you put it on your head and you got cameras all over the Quest and then it tracks by LEDs and you basically have like these little infrared LED loops and it's tracking your controllers, but it has to see them. If you're a big guy like me and you get it down under your belly or between your legs playing Beat Saber, or beat your meat saber, so it'll lose tracking. And if you put it behind your back, you'll lose tracking. So you have to always keep it in view of the headset. With the new controllers that come with the Meta Pro, the new controllers have cameras built into the controllers, just like the headset, and have their own computing system and everything to track that controller in space. Like it's scanning your room with video and actually figuring out where its position in the room is independently. So both controllers are tracking themselves. Now, the problem is the battery life on it sucks. It's like literally like less than half the battery life of the original Quest, which I think is stupid. You build a brand new device with all these capabilities and it only lasts for like an hour before charging it. Like that's stupid. But a lot of that comes down to like the headset uses more power. The controllers use way more power too. So they have an internal battery. You don't just put AA's in them. You have to actually put them on chargers now. But there is some neat technology there, but it was just put together so haphazardly. Like the experience just isn't there. Like one of the scenarios that they're really pitching with it is productivity. They're saying just put this thing on and sitting in front of your desk and you'll be able to see your whole desk. You'll be able to see your pencils. You'll be able to see your mouse. You'll be able to move your hands and grab stuff on your desk. You'll be able to see your keyboard and see the keys on it and everything. But then what it's going to do is it's going to overlay in 3D your screens. So your desk could have no screens on it, but when you put on the headset, you still see your desk, your whole office and everything, but you got these perfect, huge screens, any size you want, positioned wherever you want. You'd have 12 screens if you wanted, all positioned however you want. You'd have one big parabolic screen around you. So it's like you can turn around in your chair and talk to your coworkers and stuff, and you just have this big screen that nobody else can see. And I was like, this is really cool. Like when you look at the demo, it's like, this is amazing. But then people said in practice, because of the lens distortion and the lower resolution to the eye, it does make it harder to like do anything with stuff in real life. And they said even when you pick up a pen and you're writing and stuff like that, your spatial position of your head seems off because of course the cameras are like out here and they're not here and the IPD isn't quite right. So like even interacting with your environment and stuff, it's like not as natural as it would be with a HoloLens. So they're not quite there. They created this experience that's incredibly expensive. It does cool stuff for sure that the Quest doesn't do, and the pancake lenses apparently do look better with less glare. So if you're like a VR fanatic and you got the money and you don't mind being tethered for battery power, it does have some cool features for that. But God, $1,500, you can buy so much more in all the other VR stuff that's on the market. Yeah. It's just the price kills it. And then the other thing is it's like super proprietary, like you'd expect with Facebook, and it's all built around their VR world and their proprietary API for their VR world. Funny. It's just I don't see a lot of adoption for a device like this that's so one-off. Like because if you build something for this device, it won't work with anything else.
It's just not worth it yet. Anybody, it's just I don't know. VR is weird. I don't see how VR is really gonna. It's still so early. You know.
I do love VR. I have to admit that of
it's
all
super
the technologies,
cool. It's just so neat, super niche, and awkward. It's not. There's still too much in my mind. There's still too much friction to it. You know, it's not. I don't know. It's just That's all I can really say is there's just too much friction to it. It's not as easy as it is to just jump into and out of as a lot of other things.
Well, let me ask you a question. Have you used a Quest 2?
I think so. The Quest 2 is it's white, doesn't connect to anything. It's all
just put it on your head and go, and that's it. So my son plays that probably for 4 or 5 hours a day. Like, he loves it. He lives in freaking VR when he's doing his thing. And the stuff that he does, like when I can put up the screen so I can see what he's seeing on the TV or on my phone, and I can watch him like run around his world, like, you know, shooting around corners, playing like the paintball game and the laser tag and stuff like that. And when I get in there, I absolutely love it. Like, I'm a duck to water to VR. Like, I feel perfectly comfortable in it. It doesn't make me feel nauseous unless it's like a roller coaster simulator. I really do love it. And I do see a lot the technology advancing to a point where it's like I'm perfectly comfortable being in there for long periods of time doing stuff. Not everybody's there yet, though. There's a lot of people that still struggle with it. And I think as long as there's a huge portion of the population that's just not compatible with it or just don't get along with it well, I think there's going to be a problem, like with adoption. Like, it needs to be something that everybody can feel comfortable with. And so the closer they get to real life, or the closer they get to like real life resolution, where when the headset's on, you don't have pressure points, you're not dealing with a lot of weight. Everything seamlessly blends into your environment, so you still have your exact same focal point, your exact same lighting. I think that once it gets to that point, everybody will be compatible with it, and it'll be like an amazing thing. But as it stands today, I personally still think it's a technical marvel. But the funny thing is, like you said, it's like friction's too high. I would argue it's probably the lowest friction gaming experience I have, because I just put on the headset and just go Beat Saber and I'm doing it. You know, it's like, and then when I'm done, I take the headset off. It's like there's nothing else to do. I don't have to set up anything. I don't have to install anything. I'm not connecting at the computer and like bringing the lighthouses online. It just works. It's the only VR out of. So I have an $1,100 Valve Index, which is like, you know, top of the line VR of the day, right?
Super nice.
And I play it maybe 5% of the time. The rest of the time I'm on the Quest 2, the $300 device. And the reason being is the Quest 2, it doesn't have the same field of view, it doesn't have the same frame rate, but it's just a clearer picture. It's self-contained, and it's just not having to have any cables connected to you and not having to deal with any of the computer stuff. Just makes it such a nicer experience, even though the graphics aren't nearly as good. Like, obviously you're not going to be playing like Half-Life Alyx on it without being tethered.
Right.
And but it's like, me personally, I love the experience. My son loves the experience. I want to see where VR goes. I really love that they're still investing in.
I definitely see a future for VR. I do. I mean, all the sci-fi stuff that, you know, that is slowly becoming reality. There isn't just like 3D TV. There isn't a hook yet. There isn't a reason to need it. That's what's holding it back. Is there isn't anything. Most of it's gaming. There isn't enough like I hate to say productivity, but there isn't enough general use case for it. It's a console. It's a console. It's like a fucking Nintendo Switch. 100%
agree. 100% agree.
It does its thing. It does it well. But if you're not, you know, like, I don't own a PlayStation 5 for the same reason that I don't own a VR headset. It's like, I don't need it. I don't, the games, the hook just isn't strong enough.
This is true. This is true. I treat it like a console too. It's not.
It is.
I don't put it on my head and like set up all my screens and do programming and stuff. And even though technically you can, it's just, I've done it. And the experience isn't that good because the resolution just isn't quite there yet. The screen door, the glare. It's not as good as sitting in front of a real screen. It hasn't got there yet. But I can tell you this. Once it gets to the point where there's no distortion, no screen door at all, it's basically you're looking through it and it even focuses. Like, you can even rack focus like the human eye does.
Right.
And they are working on technology for that, by the way. So once they get to that point where it's like you looking through the headset is your brain thinks you're looking at reality, like it's indistinguishable. Then I could see this thing having like infinite use and everybody will have one, because you'll be able to sit down at your desk in your office and just be like, do I want 400 screens? Do I want a screen here and a holographic projector here? Do I want people walking around in my room and talking to me and stuff that just aren't there, but they blend into the environment? Like, visually they're there, you just can't touch them. Yeah. Like, and you can hear them spatially, like moving around the room and everything like that, to like, you know, have, you know, company, so you don't get lonely and stuff like that. I could see that technology being something that the must have, that everybody has to have when it gets to that point. But is it there yet? No, not even close. But is it heading in that direction? Absolutely. And I can see the potential. Now, they're supposed to be coming out with a Quest Pro. I don't know if that's going to be out before Christmas. I think that might be next year. But the Quest Pro is going to be basically the replacement to the Oculus Quest 2. And we're hoping that it has higher resolution. We're hoping it has the pancake lenses, but it might not, because that's a big one. If you've ever used VR, you'll notice that there's some things when you look at a bright object in VR, there's like a glare, like a circular glare on the lenses. And it's because it uses these Fresnel lenses that just you can't avoid it. These new pancake lenses that they use, like, get rid of that and get rid of the distortion, and there's no sweet spot anymore. Like, it used to be like the center. If you look straight ahead, that's like really sharp. But if you look in your peripheral vision or you move your eyeballs around, it starts getting blurrier as you go out. Like it's only tack sharp in the middle. And so the pancake lenses, fix that, where it's like you'll now have sharp peripheral vision. Yeah. But all that stuff requires more processing power, because it's like, think about it. It's like you're at your desk playing. You're playing a 4K game, right? A 4K. Yeah. And modern hardware can do it, right? Like if you have a 3090, you can play anything 4K maxed out, probably fucking 120 frames per second.
Well, especially too, if you do it in a sense of like, you're on your Wi-Fi or whatever, you could stream a 4K, like how I could technically play Steam games on my phone. But they're technically running on my PC. I'm just really viewing the monitor through my phone, and like I'm on Wi-Fi, so like you can just, the input lag and stuff is next to nothing. So I imagine it's something similar. Or you could do something similar.
So people in chat, they're saying the Meta Quest Pro will be available October 25. No, that's the one I'm talking about. That's $1,500. I'm talking about when I was saying that they're releasing the next Quest. I'm talking about the Quest 3. And sorry, I said Quest Pro, but I meant the Quest 3 is the one that's going to be coming later. And I'm wondering if that's going to have pancake lenses. Because they already said Meta already said that this $1,500 device is not targeted at Oculus Quest users, like this, or Meta Quest users. This is targeted at professionals. Like they want people to make productivity apps. They want people doing like virtualized desktop and stuff. Like gaming still obviously is good on it too, but they're targeting that virtual world of going into the metaverse. That's what this is for. That's why it tracks like facial movements and expressions and stuff. It's designed to take you as a 3D character and put you into their 3D universe. The Quest is more targeted at cheap or cost-effective VR gaming. And so they're supposed to be coming out with a Quest 3, and people thought that the Quest 3 was going to come out before the Pro, but it didn't. So I'm wondering when the Quest 3 is going to come out, because and it's not. I know it's not going to be this year. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be this year. But when it comes out, if everything goes according to plan, it's supposed to be the same price as the old one. So $400 will buy you the decent version, and then the Quest 2 will still be on sale, but they'll just drop the price of it probably $100. And what I'm hoping for is just a little. Honestly, the Quest is the most perfect VR device I've ever used, with very few exceptions. I wish that instead of using one big screen, it used two screens, so that you could get the IPD just perfect. I hate that it just has 1, 2, and 3 IPD. I have to like fuck with it and like get it in between IPDs to get it just right. I want it to have the pancake lenses so that I get a sharper view, and I want it to have slightly higher resolution. If they gave me those three things, I would think that it was a perfect headset. I already like the fitment. I already like how it feels. The weight on my head is good. The battery life is fantastic. Just give me that just a little better, and I'm hoping that's what they go for. But the Pro is making me worry a little bit, make me think that they're using the Pro to get the people to create the apps. It's kind of like the SDK. In a way, or the software development kit thing, or not software development kit, like the hardware development kit.
Sure.
Like kind of like what the HoloLens is. I'm thinking that they're looking at it that way. And then when the Quest 3 comes out, it's going to be like, oh, now you got these cameras and facial tracking and all this stuff that like I don't care about. I genuinely don't care about.
Yeah.
But I know that Meta is really, really big on the VR interaction between people, because they think that human interaction is important. Yeah, I also agree with that. I feel like when I go into VR chat, like it's as much of a cesspool as it is 99% of the time. When you go in there and you just find some cool people and you introduce yourself and you hang out, it's actually kind of fun. There is something that gets added to you being in a space in 3D with a bunch of other people that are moving around and waving their arms and stuff. Would that experience be better if they could physically make eye contact with you? Like it's tracking their IPD, and if they look at you and you're looking at them through their lens, it feels natural. And being able to see, the facial expressions, like your mouth and stuff, mapped onto a 3D character, or even a 3D character that you take a photogrammetry thing of you using your iPhone, and then it makes a 3D model of your head and puts it on your character and animates it to your head. So you have a 3D head perfectly mapped to your emotion in real life. That would be baller. Like that would be, I think that being able to just jump in with like 10 of your friends, it's snowing outside, nobody can go anywhere, it's raining or the weather sucks, and you and your friends just all get together and go to a virtual bar and like shoot pool and throw it, and you can tell who everybody is, and they're the right height, they're wearing the right clothes, they're talking the right way. I think something like that would be amazing. Like I think that would be the point when people start running out and being like, I didn't want it because I'm not a gamer, but now I definitely want it just because this is the new way that people just hang out when they can't physically be in each other's presence.
Yeah, I can see that.
Cool. That'd be cool. So if you're interested in that, that's coming out later in October. $1,500? No fucking way.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about I was going to talk about this one, the dark web hacked accounts, the verified hacked accounts.
Oh, sure.
So I read this article briefly on CNET this morning, and basically there's these guys on the dark web that are hacking. They're using phishing attacks on people to obtain credentials and access to verified Twitter accounts. And there's other social media platforms that are doing it too, but Twitter is like the big target. And what they're doing is they're going after these accounts by phishing somebody and making it look like a tweet that they made was from another user. They basically fake a tweet in an email that looks like it came from Twitter. It's like spoofed really, really well, apparently. And it says like, oh, this tweet that you made or whatever wasn't made by you. We suspect that your account has been hacked. Click here to change your credentials. And so you click it and it takes you there, and it does like this man in the middle thing where it like pulls Twitter and it makes it look like it's authentic Twitter, but you're really looking at their page, not Twitter. And you end in a phishing attack. They take your credentials, and then they forward you on using those same credentials to the website. So it really shows that you logged in, and it really shows that you're good. Like your cached credentials work. So it forwards you onto Twitter, and you log in automatically. So you think, oh, my password has changed. And you don't even notice this happens because there's nothing that raises a red flag. You're like, okay, I changed my password. It said it successfully changed. Now I'm logged into my real Twitter account, and it's obviously my real account. The problem is at that point, they have the credentials to the account, and you don't know. And they haven't done anything with those credentials yet. So what they do is they go to the dark web and they auction them off. So there's these dark websites where they just auction off verified accounts because the bots have realized that if they use a verified account, Twitter's bot detection API gives them a lot of slack. So if you can get a verified account, one, it probably has a lot of followers. Two, it's more trusted just implicitly. And what this all comes from is, you guys remember that attack that happened not too long ago? Actually, not too long ago. It was probably like a year or two ago. Where like Bill Gates and Elon Musk and Donald Trump, they all tweeted out a message saying like, hey, I really love you guys. Thank you for all the support. You know what? To reward you guys, if you send Bitcoin to this address, I'm going to send you back double what you send me, just to show you that our generosity.
Yeah.
And they ended up like getting like $6 million. Like people fell for that. People legit fell for that. Yeah. I logged into my account and I had like 3 things in my feed that were all like within minutes of each other. They were like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and like Donald Trump. And I'm like, how the fuck are these, like all these people coordinated together that all basically hate each other? Like they all coordinated together to give away Bitcoin. Like that doesn't really make any sense, but people fell for it. And the reason they fell for it is this attack has been done 1 million times. But the reason so many people fell for it is because these are verified accounts that have millions of followers. And they're like, well, it's a verified account, so it can't be hacked. That's the misconception. They're like, oh, it's a verified account, so obviously this is real and legit. Like it's too good to be true, but they're the ones saying it, so it must be real. And they hit like everybody's account. They got like Richard Branson's account. I mean, I think they even got Jeff Bezos' account. It was everybody. So once they saw how effective that was when you use the verified accounts, now they're like they're auctioning off accounts. So it's possible if you have a verified account on Twitter, you could have already been compromised without even knowing it if you did a password reset through an email. And if you are compromised, I would recommend that you go change your credentials directly by going to twitter.com or whatever and changing the credentials there. But never click on links in emails ever. Even if it looks official, even if it looks like, oh, this is, a green check mark, blah, blah, this is verified from the server, don't trust it. Go directly to the site and do the thing that it's telling you to do on the site if it's to reset your password. Because you don't want your credentials to be sold to these guys. Because what they do is they sell them off to a scammer, and then what a scammer does is they go and wait for the right time. They monitor the account. They watch what you're doing. They learn your activity and your mannerisms. And then they try to tweet something that's in line or contains components that proves that it's you and you weren't hacked, but still lures people into trusting something like, oh, go invest in this coin. Guys, you guys aren't going to believe it. This thing is going to blow up. Like, trust me. I don't like cryptocurrency, but man, this is the one exception. You guys got to trust me. And people will look at that and just go, oh my God, I got to jump on this because I got a limited time. This is only going to be for like 10 minutes. Oh my God, we have to do it. Like, I trust Barnacules. It's that kind of mentality that they're preying on. So if you see verified accounts that are tweeting anything to do with go to this website that you don't recognize or go to some link shortening URL thing, and and I'm giving away money if you go here and sign up, or hey, if you go here and do this, I'm going to do something nice for you. Be very scrutinize it all. Even if it's coming from me, same thing. Like don't just look at that and accept it. Like really, really do your research, because this shit apparently is highly, highly successful. And now it's to the point where they have entire sites on the dark web dedicated to just auctioning off credentials, just one after another, because they're so successful in phishing these things. You wanted to talk about battery technology. What's up with
I forgot about that thing? What? Let me see. Where'd that link go?
Oh, Jack Hander wants us to talk about the James Webb Space Telescope, so I'm intentionally.
Yeah, let's just jump to that. Battery stuff is okay, I guess, but like space stuff is better.
Put it in the title, god damn it. No, okay, that's fine. Okay, new battery tech apparently based on paper. Okay, next.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah,
honestly, I didn't even get that deep
well, here, let me just. It's in the title, so let me at least read it, so I don't have to change the title.
10-minute charge time paves the way for mass adoption of affordable electric cars. Design breakthrough has enabled a 10-minute charge time for a typical EV battery. A paper detailing the record-breaking combination of a shorter charge time, more energy acquired for longer travel range was published on October 12th in the journal Nature.
Take the battery shit with a grain of salt, though.
Yeah.
So many new battery technologies that are all vaporware. It's all shit that like they bring in. It's like, oh, we've discovered that this molten aluminum battery or whatever is 10 times more efficient than lithium polymer and everything. And then at the bottom, it's like, oh, this is theoretical and this hasn't been tried. They still got to figure this out and figure this out and figure this out. And it's like, okay, well, that's you're just lying for views at that point. And I watch those videos. I fall for them all. I click on every damn one that I see where it's like, oh, new battery technology is going to change the world. And I click on it, and it's usually always some gimmicky thing where they're like, oh, this battery's 10 times more efficient. It costs 1/10 as much to manufacture, and it's safer and it's cleaner for the environment. It's like, okay, well, could you show us this battery? And it's like, oh, here's our prototype over here. But just so you know, this isn't what it's actually going to look like, and this is how it's actually going to work. But this is just a demonstration. It's like, oh my god, dude! Like.
So- It looks like the researchers developed a new battery structure that adds an ultra-thin nickel foil as the fourth component besides the anode, electrolyte, and cathode. Acting as a stimulus, the nickel foil self-regulates the battery's temperature and reactivity, which allows for the 10-minute fast charging on just about any EV. It says true fast charging batteries would have immediate impact since there's blah, 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 blah. Studies partner EC Power is working to manufacture and commercialize the fast charging battery for an affordable and sustainable. So, for reference, here is the paper. Oh, look at that. Here, I'll copy the links directly to the paper.
Which link is this? Because this isn't the one you linked me to on SciTech Daily.
That is.
Oh, is it? Because of the disposable paper battery that's been developed?
No, that was years. That was long. The paper battery thing was a while back. Battery tech breakthrough. 10-minute charge time, just above the update on Adriana Chechik and her broken back.
Oh shit! Sorry. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, I was clicked on the right one. That's why I was confused. I was like, because we never talked about that the last stream. The disposable paper battery.
Yeah, I don't even know.
That's we missed this on the last one, but you guys can go check that one out. That's the one that I thought he was talking about, the paper battery, but there's another battery here, the one that he actually sent me today. Okay, I see it now. Battery tech breakthrough, 10-minute charge.
Yeah, that's the one.
And they're saying that this is basically just current battery technology, just adding in one extra layer
from the way that this kind of talk about it is going. It's just a new structure, a new battery structure that adds the nickel foil, and then I linked directly to the article from Nature, which may or may not come with a paywall. I'm not really sure. Yeah, this is a preview of subscription content, so the Nature article is behind a bit of a paywall. But again, I'm sure you could find the paper directly too if you really wanted to.
So the idea of this battery is because that nickel layer allows it to basically get heat out more efficiently. You're not going to get thermal runaway, so you can put more power into it.
Yeah, it helps to keep it at its at the right temperature. Yeah,
that actually sounds plausible. That's not like these crazy claims that I've been saying about brand new battery technology uses fucking warp engines and spatial time manipulation and quantum entanglement. This one seems like it's just a modification to existing battery technology to increase its charging capabilities, basically. So it's not changing its capacity. It doesn't look like. It looks like it's just making you allowed to push a lot more battery, a lot more energy faster into it without it blowing.
Yeah. Up. So it's not a matter of capacity so much as it is like you could technically have smaller batteries in your EV because you're less worried about how long it's going to take to charge. So like your overall like range is technically on a full tank, your range is shorter, but you can charge up faster, so it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, because they say right here, they say that you could do a third the capacity in a car, like with the same batteries, just with this nickel component, because you can charge it so much faster. You're not going to feel range anxiety because you can just pull over and charge up as fast as you would at the gas station.
Yeah.
So no, okay, I get where they're going with that. So it's like instead of going for more capacity, they're going for convenience, so you can just charge more frequently, quicker. Now, obviously, you're not going to have the power at your house to charge that fast.
It says for more than 900 cycles. So here's just from the abstract. They say, quote, here we combine a material agnostic approach based on asymmetric temperature modulation with a thermally stable dual salt electrolyte to achieve charging of a 650 watt hour per kilogram -1. I don't know what that means. Battery to 75% or 70 state of charge in 12 or 11 minutes for more than 900 or 2,000 cycles. This is equivalent to a 500,000 mile range in which every charge is a fast charge. Further, we built a digital twin of such a battery pack to assess its cooling and safety and demonstrate that thermally modulated 4C charging only requires air convection, and so on and so on.
Oh, that's kind of a big deal. Like if you cool it with just air, that takes a lot of complexity and weight out of the system.
Yeah,
because the cooling system on EVs is pretty heavy. Like all the pumps, the high pressure pumps, circulator, the radiators, and the gallons of fluid that they circulate through the packs. That's a lot of weight and a lot of extra stuff. If you just had a battery with cooling fins on it and just driving the car down the road, the air moving over it was able to cool it. That would reduce weight, complexity, make it more efficient. But it looks like so basically this new battery technology, it's a modification of existing batteries, allow you to charge them much faster, but it does not increase capacity.
Correct.
Okay. So well, that's interesting.
I don't understand this part. So like
the turbo encabulator?
No, this particular form of how they're describing this battery, this 265 watt hour kilogram raised to the -1 battery. I don't understand what that means.
Raised to the -1. Well, I mean, 265 kilowatt hours is garbage.
Like I don't know. Well, that's what I mean. It's like it says 265 watt hours per kilogram raised to the -1. I don't know what that means. So it's an energy density. It's fast charging of energy dense batteries more than 250 watt hours per kilogram or higher than 4 milliamp hours per centimeter cubed. Or squared. I don't know what that means.
Definitely not.
It's a description of the energy density. Yeah, it's a description of the energy density of the battery, right? But I don't understand exactly what that means.
Are they saying it's
or like I can't visualize that in a context of like my spaceship, right? Like because the spaceship's got like a 1,600 kilowatt hour or something like that. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know how batteries work.
Batteries with nickel-rich layered oxide cathode and graphite anodes have reached specific energies of 250 to 300 watt hours per kilogram. Okay, I see what you're saying.
-1. I don't know what
-1 that's throwing it off. Yeah,
means how much energy you can store per amount of battery mass. Okay. So yeah, it's 250 watt hours per kilo.
I
guess it's the -1, and that's throwing me. I don't know. But okay,
kilo pack.
So yeah, what does a 250 watt hour battery look like? Is that, and how many of those have I got in my spaceship? Like put it into I need a more real world terms, but obviously this is a high level sciencey thing. So like, what does that mean?
So 1,000 kilogram battery, if my math's right, 1,000 kilogram battery gets you 250 kilowatt hours for a 1,000 kilogram battery. So
here we go. Let me see. The Ionic 5, that's my spaceship, has a 58 to 77.4 kilowatt hour, 523 to 697 volt lithium polymer battery. And it is, so what does that mean? Right? Like, how does that translate to what this science is talking to me about?
Okay, so I'm confused. Somebody said X, let's see, to the power -1 means
it's X watt hours per kilo.
Well, X divided by 1 is always going to be X. So why do you even have it there?
It's a little shorter. It's a little shorter annotation, at least. Okay, more energy density means 1,000 kilo battery can store more energy than a less energy. Right, I get that, but I just wondering how that translates to like say my car, right?
Yeah,
like how many of these capacity. 250 watt -1 things have I got in my car?
Because if it doesn't change the capacity, you still have to have nickel added as an extra layer. They're not taking out a layer; they're adding another layer.
A little bit.
I would imagine that if it doesn't increase the capacity of the cells, you're actually adding more weight. So even though so you probably need a little bit more capacity now in a bigger battery pack because you're taking up space with the nickel.
No, it's like a foil, like you said, it's super thin little lip of
well, yeah, but foil. If you've ever seen how the batteries are made, they like put the foil in and they wrap it around like 300 gajillion times. So that piece of foil could still be like, if you multiply it across, 1,200 batteries and it's a 30-foot long foil strip in each battery, That could add up. That could definitely put some weight into the pack.
Without being able to get into the full article, we won't know exactly the construction of it.
Well, at least sounds realistic. Like this sounds like it's a modification to an existing battery. They've already like tested it. This is something that works. So that's cool.
Like you could have fewer modules, and it won't matter because you can charge up real fast.
Yeah, because I think that's the real anxiety, right? Is people want a car that goes like 300 miles because they want to be able to just top it off at home and go on a trip to go 300 miles. But if they had electric places that were like let's say you converted all the gas stations into electrical, right?
Yeah.
But they worked like a gas station. Like you pulled in, you could charge up your car in like 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah. You just unroll the extension cord out of the side of your thing and just plug it into the wall. And
I think adoption would actually go up because people are used to doing that already. People are already used to like going and putting more fuel in their car. So I think that would probably be something that would be more widely accepted. And plus, you don't have to like go, oh my God, I'm almost out of battery. Now I got to go to this like charger in this dark alley at like 3 a.m. in a bad part of town and charge for like 3 hours. It'd just be nice to be able to pull up and just be like 5 minutes fully charged. And I got another, 100 miles of range.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Like I'd actually take that, honestly. Like given the choice, I'd take the lighter car with the lighter battery pack, like overall, just for its handling characteristics and everything, if I just had to charge it up more frequently, but that charging frequency was more available. It'd have to be more available for me to do that. But I think I'd pick that out of the two scenarios. Hey, Belial, thank you for your subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that. Let's see. Last one, last but not least, finally, for Jack Ander painting, because he's been dying here. We're finally going to get to the James Webb Space Telescope update. Man, that thing is
the latest ones are shots of the pillars of creation.
Dude,
you have the side by side with Hubble is outrageous,
dude. It's like not, is this real life? It's freaking okay. So James Webb Space Telescope is producing images that are so far beyond anything I thought it would. Like it beats expectations like so much.
Oh man, the full res image is 8,423 by 14,589.
Ooh, that's a big boy. We can zoom in on that sumbitch.
It's 163 megabyte TIFF. Holy moly. I'm downloading it.
Dude, it's so crazy.
Oh, it's done.
You're like, oh, I forgot how fast our internet connections are. Yeah, no, the side-by-side is like, so here, so I posted the link to that seat. Oh, you posted a direct link, didn't you? Let me open this one.
Yeah, this is from the Webb Telescope ORG.
Okay, so the CNET link that I posted has the side by side.
Oh man,
of the two pictures right next to each other, and it's like, dude, they're not even the same thing.
And I saw something somewhere say that each like sparkle is a galaxy.
The far ones, yeah, the really far ones that are bright, those are galaxies, and then the ones that look like little specks or little speckles, I think those are the stars in our galaxy, if I remember right. But the crazy thing is, so if you look at the first image of the pillars of creation, it's like it's really dark on the front side of it. Like there's a lot of shadow in the cloud. From the Hubble. This is Hubble's picture.
Yeah.
And then you might see like a couple of galaxies and maybe a dozen stars, right, that are in there. You look at the new picture of the exact same thing. They framed it exactly the same and lined it up. And you can actually see into it. You can see the inside of the cloud. You can see through the dense dust cloud to the like fire. It looks like there's actually fire burning inside of the tip where new stars are forming and coming out. Yeah. And not only that, but you see the glow. You see that infrared glow of all the particles that are around that galaxy, and it just you're looking at it. There's probably, if you put that like in a program that counted the dots, there's probably like 10,000 points of light that have changed in that picture. Like it's just solid. It's just solid stars and galaxies. And so it just goes to show like how Hubble made some amazing photos. Don't get me wrong. Hubble like blew our minds, but James Webb Space Telescope was like taking this to a whole new level. I never thought it would. Like I am way more interested in space than I've ever been because of this thing. Yeah. The coolest thing is though, did you zoom in on the middle pillar?
No, what am I looking at?
So zoom in on the middle pillar at the very top and you can see fireball. And those apparently those are brand new birth stars that are still in the cloud. So it's just a huge fireball of stars that are, and they're way away from each other too. You got to realize this thing's light years across. So it's like there's a ton of stars that have just been birthed in that little cluster there, and it just looks like this giant fireball of fusion, like penetrating out of the cloud. And you don't see that at all in the Hubble photo. because the dust cloud covers it. This can punch through the dust cloud and see that. And I'm just like, man, it's so cool just seeing like this cluster of stars like burning so bright through that dust cloud.
It's so cool.
And it's probably consuming all that dust too. So the stars are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as they're just sucking in and absorbing so much more material. I don't know. It's freaking cool. And if you look at it too, it kind of looks like a hand, doesn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
It looks like a hand kind of like holding up like this, like holding on to the galaxy. I don't know. I just think it's cool as shit.
Yeah.
The pictures that this thing is taken now, do they have a website like where you can see every picture they've taken so far?
Yeah. Webtelescope.org. So hold up. You said image 10 of 280. Let's see.
I want to see this because I haven't seen all of the images. I've only seen the ones that the news has covered.
Oh yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about. 8, 9, 10. The web side by side of Dimorphos ejecta. Oh, that was the crashing that thing into the comet or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, Didymos or whatever it is, the one that they smashed the freaking satellite into.
Yeah.
Oh, where's that
side by side Hubble? It's 10 of 280.
Oh, I see it. I just opened it. So direction of impact, and then towards sun.
So the sun's over your.
So the Hubble just saw it as a tiny blue dot, and James Webb Space Telescope sees it as like this huge planetary body.
That's neat.
That's freaking cool, man. The magnification is insane. And the picture of Neptune. Why haven't I seen that?
There's just so many great pictures.
Did you see the Neptune picture?
Yeah, I'm looking at it with glowing, dude. Just this glowing orb with the ring. That's
with cool, dude. I haven't. The funny thing is, I haven't seen that one in the news. Like every once in a while, they'll show one in the news, like, oh my god, pillars of creation or whatever. But they miss all these other ones. It's like Neptune close up. Are you kidding me? That is like the coolest shit I've ever seen. And this is all in our solar system, dude. This is next door, and the spatial constant. They're our neighbors. I mean, this is fucking nuts, man. This is so nuts. And some of the shit that this thing can see, like when it looks at like planetary bodies and they can do the spectral analysis, where it can look and tell you like exactly what elements are inside of the body that you're looking at. So they can like point at a planetary body and be like, oh, there's water there. We can see that. Like the spectrum of light coming off of the planet or whatever can tell us that there's water there. And so cool. Or on the surface anyways. I don't know if they can punch through and analyze like what's inside of it, but I know
they can, because it scans different sections of the spectrum. So like depending on what you want to see and how deep and stuff, you look at different, because like there's a side by side of this Tarantula Nebula with the NIRCam and MIRI images, and it's like
I'm looking at it right now.
You see them differently. It says side by side, same of the blah blah, brings out the distinctions between Webb's near infrared camera, which is on the left, closer to visible red left, and mid infrared, further from visible red right. And so like and then it goes on to say each portion of the electromagnetic spectrum reveals and conceals different features, making data in the different wavelengths valuable, blah, blah, blah. So you can see differentness depending on what wavelength you're looking at. And then of course it's color corrected so that you can see, we can see it.
Yeah. Another thing is if you look at points of light, you'll notice that there's 6 points coming off on the dot, like the star.
Because of the mirrors.
It's the mirrors. Yeah. Because Hubble had the elements that created the crosswise one, and this one creates 6 points.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was fun looking at those images of them, like lining them up, getting all the mirrors adjusted and stuff. And they took several photos as things like, and then it becomes just that spoked out bright dot.
It's crazy cool. The precision that they can manipulate those mirrors to. It's absolutely just mind blowing. Hey, James, thank you so much for renewing your membership. I appreciate it, brother. Let's see here. Kang Wen, is it Hang Wen? Thank you for the $10 super chat. Said, hi, Jerry in Houston. I miss you and I love you. And now I see you. Aw, thank you. Because I think Nguyen is pronounced Wen. Nguyen. Is it Nguyen? Nguyen. Okay.
So, then, I think I'm stressing the N sound a little harder than it needs to be. But
so Kang Wen. Yeah. When? I'm trying. I because I know I had a faux pas when I worked at Microsoft where I walked in and I called somebody. I was like, hey, I think I said like Nguyen or something. And they're like, what? I'm like, what the hell are you saying? It's Wen, and I'm like, how the hell do you get Wen from that? But
Kang is Kang, and I was right.
That was wait, you were right. It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Kang Wen. Oh, that's awesome. Well, look at that. We figured it out. The mystery is solved. We now know exactly where the $10 super chat came from. Man, you guys have been awesome today. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Thank you so much for the super chats, guys. It really helps out a ton.
It does.
And
pay for my coffee.
And yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go have some more coffee after this because I went to bed at like 5 a.m. like I shouldn't have.
Bro, I was up till like 1. I was up till 1 playing this fucking Brotato game, man. It's freaking awesome.
Brotato?
Brotato. It's $5. I highly recommend it. It's in early access. It only just like came out on early access just a few days ago or a week maybe. Super fun roguelite arena wave-based arena shooter, I guess.
Oh, whoa! It's like Smash TV.
Sure. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, there's a few other games like this, but you can tell that it's super early access. There's like basically one stage. 20 waves. It starts off with like one wave is 20 seconds. You get a shop between waves. It's good. It's
Where
really
did you
good.
Find out about this?
I remember seeing like a like splash for it on the Steam page, but then I was watching Lethal Frag. He had a first look, and I love him playing these sorts of games. So and watching him play it, I was like, dude, I gotta get this. And for $5, I've already gotten more than my money's worth out of it.
No, I'm looking at it right now, and I was like, I bet you Xander would love this.
It reminds me a lot,
all over the place.
Oh, for sure. It reminds me a lot of Binding of Isaac. Similar sort of gameplay loop, but not with Binding of Isaac. You find items as you progress. This, you like you're collecting a resource as you kill monsters and stuff, and then between waves. You spend that resource on different weapons and things.
What was the PlayStation game where you played like Kratos and you just basically
God of War?
God of War. It's kind of like 2D God of War.
It's got a similar sort of feel to that. Yeah, that sort of frenetic combat.
Well, shit, I'm gonna play
Risk of Rain 2. Yeah, that's very similar to. Yeah, it's got the similar gameplay elements to it.
Oh, dude, there is one thing I just forgot. I was going through the tab. There is one thing we just forgot to talk about that we can just do a quick update on before we go. Is the lady at TwitchCon?
Oh yeah, Adriana. So
she looks
adult film star and recently moved to Twitch streaming, Adriana Chechik. Broke her back in 2 places, had like a 5.5 hour surgery. Nobody said anything. Nobody, no companies have said anything because they're all probably facing lawsuits over this. So there was a like American Gladiator style, like foam pit. You beat each other with these foam
like the pugil sticks and try to knock each other off the platforms. Yep.
Which I've done this sort of thing at different like bounce houses or trampoline places like that.
Oh, totally.
Super cool. Super cool. Really fun
and stuff where they have like the big inflatable balloon underneath.
They only had like a foot or 2 worth of foam, those sort of semi-dense foam cubes that you're supposed to fall in.
Like the thickest spot.
That shit's supposed to be like 6 feet deep.
And then people tested it, like, because everybody that went into the pile, like even the people who landed on their feet, went right through it down to the concrete, somebody
like not broke their knee but damaged it enough to like need a brace and stuff. Some people were twisting their ankles. Like 18 inches, that's like a cube and a half. Like those cubes are about a foot cubed.
This lady jumps off the pillar. You can go watch the video.
Does like a butt slam, like thinking, "Oh, I'm just going to take this on my butt." And dude,
you see it like ripple through her body when she hits too, because she just comes like an immediate spot with her legs up at a 45 and her back at a 45,
and just frozen. It's bad.
And then she goes like this.
What do you think of early access?
And she leans forward and just buries herself. And I was like,
it's really
bad. It's really hard.
At least 2-3 other people got hurt. They were encouraged. There's a clip of a Lenovo rep, somebody who's like there at the booth, like encouraging people to jump into the pit and stuff. They're gonna get in a lot of trouble.
Other people got injured too, and they didn't shut it down leading up to her accident. So she's gonna sue, and I guarantee you but the thing that sucks is like no amount of money that she gets is ever gonna give her life back. Like she's gonna have chronic pain for the rest of her life. This is like she's wearing a brace just to be able to stand up with a walker. She has to wear a full torso brace.
Yeah, it's going to be years before.
It's nuts.
What do you think of early access games?
Living doing like adult stuff that she said
in the past.
The tweet she can't do anymore. Oh, was that in the past? Okay,
yeah.
She made some funny tweets. She's like, I can't squirt anymore. So sorry guys, this is serious.
I'm sure,
so I can't do it.
Moved probably more like OnlyFans style stuff, or
gotcha.
And there's a few. I think Sasha Grey streams.
Yeah, she left I think she completely.
That was years and years ago. Yeah, that was
did her own thing. Yeah,
years and years ago.
She's been in movies too, so she transitioned well.
Yeah, they didn't even shut it down after. It was like a full. They like finished out that day, and then they didn't open it again the next day or something like that. It's outrageous.
Yeah, go read that article I posted on Gizmodo. It's like really long and it says all the details and everything. But I mean, she's gonna get paid. This is gonna
for sure.
There's gonna be millions,
it'll come out of Lenovo's insurance because it was their booth. Yeah. Twitch will catch some flack for it. They'll probably help Lenovo because it'll be a combination of Twitch's insurance, Twitch, the convention center, and Lenovo are all going to be responsible for this. And
honestly, they're all going to settle out of court for like a huge sum of money.
Oh, for sure.
They cannot risk this being drug out in public and like in court and keep revisiting. So honestly, giving her like $50 million would be cheaper than what they're in for.
Yeah.
If they don't. So she's going to get a big payday out of that. But man, that just sucks to see that somebody goes to a convention to have fun like that and thinks they're safe jumping into a big foam pit. And it's like, it reminds me of like Wile E. Coyote, where you paint the thing on the rock that looks like a tunnel and Roadrunner would go through it. And then another person would smash into it and break all his bones.
Just like that.
Yeah. All right, guys. I just wanted to update you on that one last thing. We'll see you again next week. Same bad time, same bad place. Unless you're on vacation again. Are you going on vacation again? The third one we don't know about?
I don't think so. Nothing soon, at least.
Just give me like 2 days heads up.
Yeah, I should be better about that.
Yeah, no worries. It's just when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh my god, you're in Disneyland. I was jealous first, and then I was like, actually, I was kind of glad because I got to go back to sleep after that. But I was like, damn, I wish I hadn't set an alarm because I was so tired, dude. I was like on my face tired. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise. You were in Disney.
We'll have to discuss early access games at another time, James. No need to spam it.
Hey, just sideline them on Twitter. Just add them on Twitter. And if you want, same for me. If you guys got any questions for me, at Barnacules on Twitter, you got me. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get this boy out of here because it's 2:13. We're 13 minutes over. We'll see you guys again next week. If you want to see our individual streams we do building computers, you're working on a sleeper build right now.
Well, that's done. So, I just got to install Windows on it. But I have a full complete build that isn't like partial that I will do on stream probably sometime next week, actually.
Yeah, so make sure you're following them over on Twitch. The link is in the video description. My link's also down there. I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at varying different times of the day. So just keep an eye on my Twitter to see when I'm streaming. My scheduling is like
crap.
It is crap. That's the best way you can say it. All right, guys. Thank you for all the support. We'll see you either over on Twitter next week. And Jim the Evo, thank you for showing up, man, and modding for us. You are the man. And to David Hewlett, who didn't get to join us today, we love your face and we hope to see you next time. You punk. Goddamn.